Greetings weary travellers and welcome back to Manor Lords. In today's video we're going to be building a Roman style settlement and generally conquering the map. So settle down and enjoy this long play. Grab a cup of tea and relax alongside me in Manor Lords. Welcome then everyone to the video. Let's get into it. Yes, we shall indeed make a prosperous community. Now you might be thinking, typical, you're going to start with a whole bunch of road building. It looked like a very well organised city when I was looking at the pre-game just then, the preview. Well, I've saved you all the trouble. Look at this behind us. Wow! Look at this RSI-inducing machine. Doesn't it look wonderful? We've got a little gap here, just where we've got our settlers starting camp running through. Pause the game so we don't waste too much time. But look at that. Our road network is ready to go, as I'm sure you've already seen. The central section here is for our higher level burgish plots within the first wall. Then we have the outer layer for other burgish plots in industry before the outer wall. And the walls, of course, will go in this tranche and this tranche here. Simply lovely. Well, we best get on with it then, hadn't we? Otherwise we're not going to make it all happen. Right, as usual, we'll start with a granary and a storehouse. We're right here next to the starting resource of wild animals. There's also some lovely mushrooms in behind. So I reckon we want to start basically right in the corner to have good access to those. What we'll do then is we'll start with the granary and we'll pop this just in the corner here. It's been a while since I've done a grid-based city. So we'll do our best to put everything in as neatly as we possibly can. So granary in there. Can't quite fit a storehouse in behind, so that's going to have to go in the neighbouring square. And already looking like we're running out of space. Good grief. Hope we've got enough. Water. Any water nearby? Yeah, there is. That's lovely. Right, we'll get some water in here then. And then a market stall can go in this space here. How many stalls does that give us? Perfect. 3 more than we need. So we'll get 9 stalls positioned there. We'll get another ox post. And we'll pop this in next to the storehouse. Nice and tight. We'll go here. Order ourselves another oxen. And put down the hitching post. We'll move it over here. Away from the starting area. Lovely. We'll set the priority of those to absolutely maximum. Highest, you might say. And that's so that they get built before the ox arrives. Otherwise it's going to run away. Granary and storehouse are the next priority after that, so that we can get our goods that we've started with, our starting supplies, safely stowed away. Logging camp is the next thing on our agenda, and that should just about fit inside one of these squares here. Although we might have a bit of a problem where we've put some buildings already and it's fattened the road. There we go, we'll fit in one. We could go in this one here then, so we'll get that one down there. And then along with that, we'll get ourselves a hunting camp, so we can start to get some goodies. Fit this one in, maybe just here. Turn off snapping again. Good golly gosh, we're going to fill this up quite quickly, aren't we? I wonder how many people will be able to end up fitting within this area. That leaves us with 1 plank, so let's time progress. We'll get our people out and start building. They should work on those hitching posts first, as we discussed. Before moving on to work on the granary and storehouse, we'll get a family into both the granary and into the storehouse, and that way we'll be able to get our starting goods nicely stowed away. A good start. And there we have the granary popping into existence. Always good to see when the settlers set about work and they're doing it properly. Some lovely little bunnies in the background there. Totally not going to become food before too long. We're going to colonize their home for sure. Speed time up a little bit there. Get a worker in there. Get a worker in there. Don't really need market stalls at this point. Just want them to focus on getting supplies inside. Then we'll want to get a couple of families working at the logging camp as well, so we can start to get some initial resources in. Fab, and just as soon as resources are moved up, we'll be able to get this last wall in place here as well. It occurs to me, we might need to hollow out some space in the central grid here to make space for a church, etc. Because those are particularly large buildings that will use up more space than one single grid. Let's get 2 families working at the logging camp. That's the last log there, so we can connect that road across here. A little something like that. Grand. I suppose we could, for the time being, pop a little road out here to give them easier access to the wild animals. And I would like to get someone working at the hunting ground, so let's unassign the storehouse worker. They can go and work at the hunting camp. And just as soon as we have some timber drop in from our logging camp, we'll be able to focus on getting some buildings constructed. So we'll put a family that's in the granary into the logging camp as well for the moment, because the priority is to get some buildings done. Oh dear. It's getting dark. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. For the first time, I've enabled the cosmetic day-night cycle. To be honest, I didn't know it was in the game. It was hidden away in the menus, and I'm quite intrigued to see what it looks like. I mean, it looks like nighttime. But the starry sky, that is lovely. I wonder if this is as dark as it gets. Interesting to see. I don't know how long the day-night cycle is either. Certainly interesting. Well, it's nice to try something different from time to time, isn't it? We've got a few timber popping in. Let's start to think about our first burgages. So, I think possibly we'll go and put them backing onto the area that will eventually be the wall. So, let's turn on snapping. And I do believe there is a way I used to do this. It's been a little while since I did a grid-based city. So I need to remember, yeah. So that's the way to get the double burgage with an extension out the back, yes. And what was the way I used to do the gardens? Does anyone remember? Might have to be a straight burgage like that. That's not a very efficient burgage, is it? Possibly I used to join a couple together and we had the larger grids, didn't we? We might have to do that in a couple of places. It's going to risk ruining the grid a little bit though. What we'll do is we will trace over the lines we intend to delete, which is going to be these four here and these four here. So those are going to be nice and easy to trace over. We can trace over the outside ones here. What we might even do, let's think about this before we go too gung-ho. We've got 1, 2, 3 windows in each of these. And on the outside, we could turn all of those into farm spots and then have really dense population in the center. Ooh, I like the sound of that. So a bit more agricultural on the outside and a little bit more city-like on the inner wall section. How exciting. This road here will need continuing, so we'll just draw over this one. We'll do 2 by 2, I suppose. So we'll go over to there, and then to there, and that means that as we delete roads, there will be a road to replace it, at least for the time being. There. But to be honest, we've got so many different roads here in our grid, we're unlikely to lose our reference points completely. It does all, of course, work out completely to a corpse pit in size, in terms of the size of these squares. And if you know me, you know that I do love a good corpse pit. Right, let's delete that road. No dire consequences as yet. And let's delete this road. And this one. Dire consequences. We've still got a stub over here we can measure off. And then we just need to put in a corpse pit. Maybe we'll just do this to here temporarily. And we should have gone and done the same prep over this side, shouldn't we? So let's turn off snapping and snug this in here. Lovely. And then build that over there. And then we'll just trace over these roads. There I was, basically setting up the entire grid before we got going, thinking, I know, I'll save all my beautiful viewers the anguish of watching me build loads of roads. And, I mean, so far, I've pretty much just built roads. So that's not gone exactly to plan, has it? Terribly sorry, everyone. But you know what? You should know what you're getting into if you're watching a typical T video. And I'm going to build roads. That's just the way I'm wired, I'm afraid. Let's set up these here, delete these. Good, so that gives us a couple of larger squares to work with. And I think the way I used to set these up, it's been a while since I've done a grid-based kingdom, is a little something like this, but there is a correct side to do it from, which is that one there. Make sure that is snugged into the corner. Wunderbar. That's what I like to see. And then we'll do the same on this side. Fan-dabby-dozy. I suppose the other way would be the way we've been doing burgages recently, which is to do a couple along the bottom here, like that, and then wrap around them. But I kind of like doing it this way. Let's speed time along. That's used up most of our resources for the time being anyway. We'll unassign one of the families from the logging camp so they can go and help with construction as well. Down to just 2 months of food, so it would be nice to get some of these wild animals in, and also some mushrooms. So why don't we go ahead and get ourselves a forager hut. And from where shall we forage, dear sir? Can you forage from here? Can we squeeze you in? Yes, we can. Put the forager hut down just there. I'm really very excited to see how this Roman-style inspired linear settlement is going to end up looking. let's get expansions on these 2 burgages right away, because we want to get people out of those starting tents as quickly as we possibly can, of course. And then hopefully we'll have enough people to go and work on a little bit of shroom collection too. Exciting. We'll need to get down a saw pit so we can start processing some of that wood bringing in. Find a little place to pop this in at the edge here. And dabby dozy. Pop an extension on that one there. And we've got another 2 timber come in. So we can look to build our next square. I don't want to build over all of our stone though. We are going to need that. So we're going to have to skip a square. Start at the bottom corner. Doesn't look like it's right in the corner. Funny business going on with these roads already. Was it 1 or 2? I usually do 2, don't I? Yes. And let's use up all of our logs for the time being. The fastest start I've ever had, but, you know, not too terrible either. And actually, with these larger squares, we could put the church out in here somewhere, but I think we will put it in the inner ring somewhere. Maybe we'll turn each corner into a larger one. So, you know, church here, tavern here or something. Yes. All the different types of religious buildings. We could even have 2 churches and 2 taverns. Oh, the possibilities. They're not endless, but they're certainly not limited. Another 2 timber. Let's build that next mortgage. So we can get mortgaging nice and quickly. What are you doing there, sir? I have to place you manually. I have to place you manually, then I shall place you manually. No dilly-dallying. Thank you, sir. How are we doing? Used up a few of those wild animals. I'm actually going to switch you over because your pantry or generic storage is full, and get you working at the forager hut instead, because I think that's probably a better place to have you working. New message. Oh, lovely. Been given some weapons. How lovely of them all. I didn't have weapons delivery turn on the last playthrough I did, and I'm almost surprised to get it this time. And actually, we have a perk. We should probably think about how we're going to spend that, shouldn't we? So what do we actually have here? We've got a strong deposit of mushrooms. And I believe we are fertile. Always a strange sentence that I have too much pleasure in saying. Okay. So what do we want to do with those? Obviously, we could go for the Vogtland, so it'll improve our hunting camp, and also double the size of our shroomage. That's definitely tempting. Small holdings is another option, so we can make those farms even more efficient. I do like the sound of that. Increased approval from food varieties, also nice. Increased success of tree planting. We've chopped down a lot of trees and putting down a whole bunch of corpse pits. So that wouldn't be a bad thing either. Of the Vogtland would be better for us early game, because it increases the shroomage and gives us better hunting. The increased export price of minor trades wouldn't be bad either. It would increase our initial monetary income. But decreased agricultural efficiency isn't where it's at, because we are going to be doing farming. So I think we'll go for smallholders. Boom. It does seem to work these days, after my little bit of skeptical nature recently. So we'll enable that one. And we need to get on and do some planting sooner rather than later, really. Let's get a family working at the saw pit. And I would like 30 planks, please. Dear kind says. And we should probably set ourselves up a reserve of at least 2 timber. Really would like to get some wood being chopped down and some charcoal. So I feel like we're a little bit on the back foot here. We need to get the iron out of there, so we'll put the charcoal kiln a little further along. Get that one down there. And at the moment, my thoughts are basically industry on the very outside of the outside wall. Outside of the inner outside wall. Does that make sense? I don't know, you figure it out down below. So, industry here. And then agricultural here. And then city here. And farming on the outer side? On the outside of the city walls altogether. And we might have farmsteads outside as well. We'll have to wait and see. And 4 main gates, but then possibly a couple of little sally gates like this, where we want to be able to get out for ease of collection of goods outside the walls. How are we doing on plankage? We're doing okay. So we'll build ourselves a couple of vegetable gardens for starters. And we'd like to get some extensions popped on as well. I'm going to temporarily reassign the sawpit worker. And I'm going to send them to work at the woodcutter's lodge, which we have not built because we are big dum-dums. And when I say we, of course, I mean me. I mean me. Somehow I forgot to build it. I suppose it would make sense to put it next to the lovely charcoal kiln. So we'll put this in here as snugly as we can, so we can get a family working there. And we're not going to be able to afford anything yet. It's 54 to buy ourselves some lovely beets, but we want to establish a charcoal export, which is going to cost us 20. And of course, for that, we're going to need to get ourselves a trading post, for which we also still do not have enough lumber. Soon we shall, though. Maybe let's assign an additional family to the logging camp to help get that in even quicker. It does feel like we've had a very slow start to the game here. Let's see how the AI is getting on. Ooh, some brigands there. Maybe they're ahead of us, maybe not. Oh, they've got strong sources of iron, we'll have to watch out for them. And stone! Ugh, they're going to be annoying to deal with. We're going to have to go in and get our stone from somewhere else. There's a strong deposit here. Might have to settle a little outpost over there, a Roman camp, or what do they call them? Depot, a Roman depot. Out a little bit further along. People are moving in. That's going to give us additional families to do stuffs and things, which is very nice. I think you should probably go and work at a woodcutter's lodge for one. And we've got 9 timber, so let's unassign someone from the logging camp and send them to go and work at the charcoal kiln. After which, we should be able to now afford a trading post. And this is one of the King's Roads down here. So I guess we'll put this somewhere relatively near to the ingress and egress, which would be here. Like so. And you do fill up these little cubes very quickly. I suppose they're not cubes, are they? They're squares. Well, daylight cycle doesn't seem to be revolutionary just yet. People still walk around and some such. Stolen goods, the audacity. Very disappointed that we've allowed that to happen. When I say we, I mean me, because I am a poor leader, and I have not done anything to protect my citizens. We're nowhere near to building the manor or other such materials that we need. So things in general could be going a little bit better. But they're not going too terribly either. What is our next step then? We have one unassigned family. We are finally starting to make a little bit of charcoal. Trading post here, ready to go. So let's go into trade. We'll go and open up a export route on charcoal. And I think a surplus of 50 for the time being should be more than enough for us to survive. Food is obviously the primary issue at the moment. It might be worth getting a few extra families working on foraging. Pantry isn't full, so we don't need to worry about getting someone into the granary just yet. Let's get 2 families working in the forager hut. The more that we can get away before it starts to decrease in size over winter, the better. Lovely stuff. We have one available spot for someone to be moving into, and although it's going to be a drain on our resources, I think we get another spot for someone to move into, because hopefully before too long we are going to be able to plant up some beets over here, which will be a food source. We have got the wild animals to see us through the winter potentially, and also want to get as many of those mushrooms out of the ground as we possibly can, so another family moving in and allowing us to do that would be no bad thing. It would be nice to get someone operating the granary, but again, we're fairly low on people. We've got 12 timber though, so I'm going to unassign you from the logging camp, send you to work at the forager's hut, and then the next family to move in, as indeed we have just had, we're going to send them to work at the granary, so they can empty the forager's hut and give everyone something to buy on the market, which will in turn make people lovely and happy. It's nice to see the sun coming up in the morning, isn't it? Very unusual for this game to have that, but yeah, I quite like it. How are we doing on trade? Well, we could probably do with a family working here, couldn't we, for starters? Is there anywhere, though, that we could realistically provide a worker from? What could we cut someone from? We don't want to cut anyone from foraging. Charcoal, possibly we could cut just while they're trying to build up the reserves of Woodcutter's Lodge, because without firewood we can't make charcoal. So they don't turn, one worker at the charcoal kiln will turn charcoal from wood faster than they can produce the wood. I'm making so much sense today. If you're still here, thank you, and welcome to the community. We just have a little ramble here while playing Manor Lords, just generally being British, and fussing about, basically. So, hope you're enjoying it. If you are, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have a little chat with you. I use the voice reply feature, so I'll get back to each and every one of you if I can. Usually I succeed, so great to see you there. And this filler talk is definitely something we do more, since they removed the ×12 time span feature. Another family's moved in. I think for the time being we double down on the forager hut just to extract as many of these shroomies as we can. So I think they're going to be what we're relying on through the first winter. Unless that trade comes in soon, and we land a nice bit of cash, but they haven't even moved the charcoal to the trading post yet. Not a great start. Don't know why they haven't done that. Got a little bit of firewood, tempted to turn that into charcoal. Got no more spaces for anyone to be moving in, but we do have 12 timber. So I think possibly housing expansion is required. So we'll come over here and we'll do the same thing we did previously, which is extend these roads down at the bottom where we're going to be deleting the intermediary roads to allow us to build a couple of extra squares. And then we'll carry this on here for when we delete it. Oh, wrong road. Right, this one here. This one here. And this one here. And that one there. Lovely stuff. Burgage plot-wise, we're just going to follow the same pattern as we have done already. And some of these will be for vegetable plots and some of them will be for orchards. Combination of the two, but we'll get those built there so we've got a bit more space for people to be moving into. Yeah, we might be doing a bit of transporting, bringing some charcoal over now at long last, for goodness sakes. I hope so anyway. Nope, they're just going to get water. What are you all doing? We bought a trade route. We're not at the desired surplus. That'd be why. Moaning at my people, and it's all my fault, as per usual. Who else can we free up? I'm going to take one of the forager workers, and I'm going to send them to work at the charcoal kiln, just so we can try, at least, and get to the point where we can export some charcoal. Part of the problem is, the nearest forest is a little way away. We chopped down so much of the lumber in building the grid here. So we might need to get a forester working sooner rather than later on this map as well. Or we really are going to fall behind the AI, who are camped over here, gloating in the fact they've already got a church. Oh my goodness, can't stand people like that. As much as I would like to go and take care of the bandit camp, which we could definitely do with 16 troops, I am more concerned about getting things done here. And if we take our troops over there, those are jobs here that are not getting done. We're up to 5 months from food just by eating mushrooms. Hopefully they're not magic in any way, otherwise our people are going to be going a little bonkers, a bit like a typical tea here. We could build an extension on there, but maybe we should hold on to our planks for the second. Oh, gravy. Things being stolen left, right and centre, which reminds me we could be exporting those, but we can't now because they've been stolen. Blast. So we're going to export pelts. Anything over 1? We have none now. At least they didn't steal any food, I suppose. I guess that would be a reason to go after them, stop them from stealing our food. Slow start here to this playthrough, but I'm sure things will pick up no end soon. And if they don't, we're going to die. So I really hope that they do. How are we going on charcoal? We're finally over our export limit, so we are stocking a little bit to sell there now. Another family has moved in, and I think we're going to put you at the woodcutter's lodge to see if we can't boost the amount of firewood available to be turned into charcoal. Right. Having said we weren't going to do this, I think we're going to go and take our militia and very quickly deal with the bandit camp over here, if only because it would be a good idea for us to not have our small supply of food stolen. 18 troops should be more than enough to take care of one measly bandit camp, and I believe that's all that's out there at the moment anyway, and since it's so close, our workers will be back in no time. We should be off making that first trade about now, although 2 troops are actually out fighting, so again, it does rather slow things down, but we should at least still be producing charcoal, which indeed we are. We've angered the little bandits and they're on their way. Let's set ourselves up next to this fallen tree here, and we shall wait for them to engage us. There we go, and we'll just go for a balanced fight. Hopefully we don't lose anyone. We're even on numbers, but we do have the superior troops, and we've got better defense, fairly good pokey sticks, and on balance we're not losing any combat effectiveness. There we go. No losses, which is nice to see. We'll go and claim that bandit camp for our own. Another one has just spawned, but we're not walking all the way over there. We want to get over here, take the goodies, which belongs to our treasury, and get our boys home, so they can get back to their jobs. A nice little influence and monetary steal for us there, though. I suppose we could hire in some mercenaries to go and take care of these brigands, but That seems quite expensive, and I would rather avoid it if we can. Got 58 regional wealth. Not quite enough to order a horse, so I am going to order in some beetroots, just so we can start to get something in the ground, hopefully for a harvest early in the spring to help see us through. 5 months of food. How are we doing on the mushrooms? There's still some to be harvested. Let's get another family working there, and once we get our troops back and disbanded, they too can go and help with the harvesting. As you can see, most of the workers there were out fighting, which is why we weren't bringing much else in. And that's one thing I do both love and hate about Manor Lords. You have your troops, and once they're away from their homes, they're not doing their jobs anymore, so your economy really does take a wartime hit. We've got a bit of timber, we've got a bit of plank, and once again, we're just in a bit of a waiting game. This day-night cycle is really throwing me. I think I like it. I think I'll like it more once we're able to do proper lighting, because if it looks really cool at night with lots of lighting. At the moment, the only light sources are usually the open fires, so it's not as interesting. I don't know if the higher level burger plots have lights inside. That would be cool, but I don't think that they do. So a bit limited on light sources. Right, let's let a few people move in. We'll get the last of these mushrooms, and then we'll redeploy people to other jobs. And I'll rejoin you once we're heading into the winter, I think. Good pips. So it's December, and the winter snows are starting to fall. You can see we've got some beets in the ground here. So that should be a fairly good harvest when we come through to spring. And we have got 5 months of food to see us through. We've got a little bit of money, which we've been spending. So we've got some carrots here as well. I don't think we've got any planted before winter, but we'll be able to plant those down in spring. Some money coming in from the trading post. We're looking absolutely dandy when it comes to charcoal. We are going to need to get a few burgages set up for things like honey production, to give us some fertilization, to give us the pollination bonus to all of our various farms. So we could use some outside space for those. Potentially we could have some smaller burgages as well as industry in the outside ring. Otherwise we've got to go into the inner ring already, which I don't particularly want to have to do. Because there's no one working at the forager hut currently, we do have a free workman. So where shall we put them to work? We've got planks, we've got timber. Not very much timber though. Let's get another family working at the logging camp. So we don't want to overload our initial starting area. And we don't have loads of food, just have enough to get through. So we don't have too many people moving in straight away. But I think we can afford to get a couple of burgages down. That is if we had enough wood. And they're not the most efficient plots ever. But at least we do have space for 2 families to move in if we wanted to, with an expansion. The other option is to do it this way, but we're not really gaining anything by doing that, so I don't see any reason to do that, other than the fact, actually, it does match our other burgages, doesn't it? It's not any, smaller in terms of the available area. We might do that. So, how am I doing that? I'm coming off the right-hand side and going up. 1 click up across. Let's just double check that we can get 2 of those in. We can. Oh, that's lovely. It's like a little version of what we've got in here. I like that a lot. Let's get those built then. Still got 1 family available for construction. So my mood lifts as soon as the skies get light. The darker and wintry days, just like in real winter here in the UK, not the most stimulating and cause a little bit of seasonal affective disorder, I do believe they call it. Didn't used to believe that was a thing. I do these days. So experience will teach you what a conversation never could. A bit of typical wisdom for you there. You're welcome. Please don't take advice from me. Right, so we've got 2 families working there. We have ordered in a horse, I believe. We have indeed. We've got a stable space for him. Tempted to order in another horse, but I think what we'll do actually is we'll get an ox. That's going to fill up our initial stable space. So getting down a few additional ox hitching posts wouldn't be a bad shout. But I suppose doing it somewhere over near where we have our lovely trading post wouldn't be a bad idea. Do I want to put anything in these spaces, or do I want to keep those concourses clear? I'm not sure at the moment, so I guess maybe... where to put them? Is the wall going to be on the inside of this or the outside? I think probably on the outside. In which case, it's going to be on the outside of this one. So there'll be a gap to the walls. Yeah. So this will be free of anything. And then, consequently, this side would be free of anything. Yep. That's what we'll do. So, we can then put some in here. So, get a couple of those just there. I think that looks lovely. We do have another family that's moved in. So, let's get these set up. Do we want to spend money on that just yet? Probably not, but we do have a fair bit. having said that, we are going to spend it quite quickly. So what we could do with doing, and that is getting down a stone gatherer's camp. So we can collect in these stones. One, so we've got some stones, and two, so that we can build some burgers in there. So we'll get that built nice and quickly. On these then, for the time being, we will put down some animal pens. They don't cost anything immediately, and that gives us an option to get down some pigs, or perhaps some goats would be a better starting choice. We can afford some more seeds, so we've got beets, carrots, which means we need to get some cabbage, which is going to take up most of that money anyway, but does leave us enough actually to get in here and buy ourselves a couple of goats. Maybe we should get one goat, one pig. Try and keep things fairly even from the outset. 10 timber, 52 planks, so we're doing okay for resources. We have 4 months of food left, which should see us nicely through to when we have our first beet harvest. No, look, we did get some carrots down, so there'll be some carrots next year as well. And then we'll be getting cabbages in the ground, and these are pretty large farms, so that we should be dandy from there. I'm quite tempted to turn these into small holdings, as and when we have a large enough workforce to cope with it. At the moment, let's get a couple of families at that stone gatherer camp and see if we can't gather in all those 118 resources. If we're going to do that, we're going to need a bigger storehouse, so let's get an upgrade on that, and we might as well upgrade the granary at the same time. Looking okay for supply chain, but we're going to need to consider another granary sooner rather than later. Even more money's come in. Let's buy a goat and a pig as discussed, and then we'll get expansions on both of those dwellings. I love how tightly packed that all is. I know the Romans didn't really build them diagonals like that. They'd have a lovely organised grids within these, but we don't have Roman looking buildings, so the best I can do for you is this grid, which I think looks pretty cool. I'm sure it'll all look nice when it comes together. And they're at least going, perfectly diagonally, I suppose. With the central roads running through and everything, I think it'll be fine. Now, how are we doing for bandit camps? There's one over here, isn't there? He is. I wonder if we go and take care of that shortly. I'd like to get the mana down as well. I do think we need to gather in a few stone to do that, but they are starting to come in now, so we should be okay. And I'm thinking, basically, we put the mana right in the centre. It's that or the church, isn't it? I think we go for the mana. We can't afford the garrison tower just yet, but let's place this more or less where we want it to go. Move the mana out of the way so we can get it placed. I'm thinking basically right there. And then we'll do some little walls around him. I have a little walled area directly around the castle itself. Who knows? We'll deal with all that at a later date, but that gets the mana under construction at the very least, which I think gives us some passive protection from bandits and brigands, which wouldn't be a bad thing at all. I want to keep our men on focus for the minute, so I'm going to avoid going and dealing with those brigands too soon. We should start planning where the church is going to go, though, and I think that's going to go in this corner here. So we're just going to extend the roads and double them over anywhere where we think we're going to delete a road, which is going to be these two here. Okay, and then we should be able to delete these two without consequence. And we'll tuck the church, I think, basically right into the corner here. Turn off snapping. There we go. Just there. So what are we short on? We are short on a couple of timber. So we'll have those in no time. We'll set the priority for the mana to be nice and high so we can actually get that job done. And before we start work on the church, but the church is our next goal, I think. Although we probably could do with a few more accommodation spaces. Maybe we do go ahead and get another double small burgage in this space here. It would be nice this year as well to get some trees planted. We'll have to see how we go, realistically, on money for that. Because at the moment, just having enough food is definitely the priority. 2 unassigned families, but that's going to help us get the mana constructed, so I'm not overly keen to reassign them too early here. Is it getting dark or is it getting light? It's getting dark. Ooh, another bandit camp. Where's that located? All the way over there. Wonder if it's worth us hiring in a set of mercenaries. So 50, and they arrive in Foot, which is here. It's quite a long way to march. Is there anything in Nussul or Hagsteig? Because if we do that, we might only need to hire them for 1 month. There is, but they're 110. In fact, it's just ticked over and everyone's more expensive, so we're not going to do that. I obviously should have hired them when I saw them. Alright, well, it's coming into March. We shall track their movement. So we have a deadline for when we need to get our military properly sorted out there, really. Speaking of which, we could probably do with getting ourselves down a iron mine. So pop that mining pit in there so we can get an initial extraction of all the iron that's in the ground there, which will enable us to make a few more weapons. Down to 2 months of food, but that's fine because we're about to be taking some more beets out the ground, and mushrooms are indeed growing as well, so all headed in the right direction. And there's plenty of construction going on as well, so I'm going to leave actually that third family to work on the manor before we reassign them and get them back into the forager's hut. For those who haven't bought yet though, I think maybe we'll do all vegetables here, and then maybe here we'll do all orchards, and then vegetables and then orchards, so evenly split it up. So let's buy you some beets, and then cabbage and carrots, so everyone can get planting this year. Let's get those hitching posts upgraded to stables, and we'll order in another ox, because more ox is more good, as we know. It's taking an absolute age to build this. Good grief, it is quite far away, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Should we cheat? Let's get a temporary road across here. Hopefully that should significantly speed things up. We're not going to have any diagonal roads in the final build, but that helps get people over there to get it done quicker, then I'm all for it on this occasion. Lots of things under construction then. And we are well into March. Mushrooms are going to grow there quite nicely for the time being, to be fair. We don't need to stress about harvesting them. I don't know if more grow, if you take real advantage of it during this stage, I suppose. It's always growing. Yeah, the sooner you harvest them, if you let it cap out, they stop growing, don't they? Simple math. Right, well, building that road has definitely sped things along here, which is good to see. How's my house coming along? Don't forget to paint the inside. I don't want an undecorated house. I don't want to be left to do any DIY, for goodness sakes. Don't forget the kettle and my tea bags. Two very importantly. In fact, you can forget the painting. Just make sure I've got tea, alright? Yorkshire. Gold, preferably. Don't know where you're going to get it from, but thank you anyway. As soon as that man is completed, we shall delete this road. Come on, 2%. How long is that realistically going to take? I was raring to go. Delete the road. Come along now. Good gravy. Just can't get the staff these days, can you? Yeah. Any hoozles. We can wait on that, I suppose. Mainly because we don't have a choice. It would be really nice to get these burgers up. We've missed out on a lot of migration in this rather inefficient start. It always does happen when you're doing a... It's built there. When you're doing a build that is set to a specific layout, you tend to not start as close to your starting resources as you could have done. Your granary storehouses first buildings up right next to the starting supplies, and it does make for a much less efficient start. You do recover as you get a little bit later on into the game, but it definitely slows you down at the start. Right, that construction is whipping along at a decent pace now. How are we doing for stone? Just 11 of that left. Let's get a couple of families working at the forager's hut. We might as well buy some herbs as well. Over here, I'd quite like to get a chicken in one of them, but we'll have to wait until we get a little bit more money to do that. We could get an animal pen in the other, but equally we could go for an apiary. Yeah, apiary and chickens, those are our next two things we want to do there, but we'll have to wait for the money to do so. Trade, it's going okay. We do need to start thinking about reforesting, I think. So let's get ourselves down a lovely little forester's hut. We'll see about squeezing that in here. Good stuff. And as the last of that stone disappears, that'll free up 2 families to go and help with construction elsewhere. 3 stone. 2 stone. 2 big stones by the looks of things. Good gracious. Still no money for the chickens. Waiting for the last stone to be removed from the side. Hopefully they weren't holy stones. And there we go. So we can unassign you and get rid of you. The storehouse will take care of all those goods. We're still looking okay on the supply chain. Maybe let's get someone working at the mining pit. That wouldn't be a bad idea, would it? Whoa, big zoom. Rather unintentional. Tempted to get another worker at the forager's hut, but I think what we'll do is we'll get someone at the forester's hut, and we'll literally start by planting a circle right here. The smaller the circle, the less walking around the foresters do to plant everything, as one of you lovely commenters pointed out to me. It's much, much more efficient to have that than set them over a wide working area, although it does look a little bit odd having a perfect circle of trees, though I suppose it makes sense if you're specifically working on growing some trees for production. Though I suppose there should be a perfect grid of it doing that as well. Oh well. Another family's moved in. Let's get some expansions popped on over here. So we don't currently have the money to deal with getting the honey and the chicks that we want to get in there. What we can do though is get on with some further expansion here. So we'll use up the space where we previously had the stone deposit and get in our 2 triangular... Oh, that's weird. Did I go too far along here? Our 2 triangular burgages. Burgages? There we go. Lost the ability to speak. We've still got nearly a year until we're raided. But let's start to think about that iron we're extracting from the ground. So we will need a bloomery to smelt it. So we'll get a bloomery. We'll tuck that down just over here. We'll need a smithy potentially. Alternative being we could just get a blacksmith and flip them between a few jobs. That tends to be my preference. So we'll go for that initially. Got a bit of money, so let's get some chickens. And we have got enough as well to get our first apiary. So we'll get that down as well. And we're just going to go for more vegetables for these 2 burgages. And like I said, later on when we move into one of the other quarters, then we'll be getting some lovely orchards down. Make sure I don't click orchards just because I'm talking about orchards. How are we doing with firewood? Could almost do with a 3rd family, but maybe we should just invest on getting trees planted for the future. So we'll get another family working at the forester's hut to do so. What have we got in terms of availability here? So, they're not going to be the best for taking on enemies, but not the worst either. And we could always get those and those. Right, let's sign a couple of people here, using all of our money to do so. And then we will send these chaps at a sprint in this direction to coalesce with our forces here. And we'll see if we can't take on a couple of the bandit camps without risking any of our own men or harming our own production. Splendid stuff. Right, we'll let them move across the map. 5 spots for people to be moving in. We are through 5 months on food. We could be taking more mushrooms out of the ground. It's still growing over there. But we've got 2 families working on that. We've got trees being planted. We've got money being made on charcoal. And we've got lots and lots of vegetables going into the ground. So all things considered, I think we're going okay over here. We've even got a bit of iron coming in. How are we doing on that front? 11 iron so far. How are our forces getting on with moving on over this way? Not too shabby. Once we get these chaps in here, we'll start moving everyone towards the other bandits. Slow you down a bit. Catch these guys up. Slow them down. Lovely. I mean, our own bandits here are really just to occupy theirs while our archers do the work. There we are. We've aggroed them. And we'll look to get our archers doing the main damage. Lovely. And we'll keep these guys out of the way. Set. No, we can't set any aggressive or balanced stances here because they just are what they are. Simple folk. We'll make sure we keep having the back of them here because, again, the archers that are going to do the lion's share of the work. Good. Right, let's run them over here. We can get both bandit camps before we need to pay them again. That would be ideal, but it's going to be a bit touch and go, especially with keeping them alive enough to do 2 raids. Yes, we're probably going to have to pay them again. It is what it is. Right, that belongs to my treasury now. And we can't afford to run you, so we are unfortunately going to have to walk you, and it's quite far as well. So, right, we're paying you for another month. Hopefully another bandit camp pops up that we can deal with. That might be a hope there. Got enough money, though. We can afford them for another month. It's just not as efficient as it could have been. 2 unassigned families. Maybe let's get 1 at the bloomery so we can start making some of that iron we talked about. We can make the apiary a small holding. I wonder if that will just make more honey, I guess. It won't actually increase production in terms of making everything more fertile, I don't think. Still under construction. We've still got space for people to move in. Make sure we're not abandoning these guys. 8 days. The wariness is more of an issue for the archers, really, because they're the damage dealers. Proud of this hill though, looks a good place to take the enemy on. What we'll do is we'll put bandits this side, archers front and center, or rear and center I suppose. And they should be aggroed at that distance. No? Yes. Okay. We've had a little bit of rest, I suppose, at least. Let's see if we can't open fire. Lovely. And we have paid them, which is a shame. Make sure we keep having a line of sight here. Lovely. And then we'll send you all over this way to the bandit camp. Has any other popped up? No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, we'll keep them to the end of their tenure anyway, just in case one does pop up, so we can make use of it. And then we'll get some cabbage in there. Can't afford the beets yet, but we will get them eventually. That belongs to my treasury. Thank you kindly, sirs. And then we will redeploy you all to the center of the map, so you're well positioned to respond to any bandit camps that do pop up, should one arise in the 27 days that we are still paying you to provide us with a bit of security and peace. All sorts of movements. I'm not going to worry about putting expansions on just yet. Still keeping on top of the mushrooms, which is great. We're not losing out on any because the storage is full, or the deposit is full, but it is getting that way. How are we doing for logs and for planks? Pretty good, to be honest. They do with another family moving in, really. There we are. As if by magic, another family moves in. The next thing we should do then is get ourselves a church. So we're going to pop this in the corner here. Face it this way, like that. And we'll connect this off there. I know it's not perfectly on grid, but actually maybe do as we come across like this. And then connect it down. Yeah, it's much better. We'll do that. There's technically a road connection here. We could do it here as well, but I think one at the bottom that'll be fine. And let's get a temporary road in the bottom to make building it nice and easy, so we're not going all the way around every single time. 236 days till raiders are near, and we have got ourselves 14 iron slabs so far. We're going to need to build a baggage to produce us some weaponry, blacksmith, and also tooling. So why don't we get a couple popped in down here, and hopefully we'll be able to get some up to level 2 fairly soon, and we'll be able to use them to produce us the weaponry we need. No sign of anyone yet, and 7 days isn't enough time to deal with the bandit camp anyway, so we are going to disband that military force before we have to pay them again. Oop. Camera getting a bit excited there, I can understand. I too am a bit excited at the prospect of having a wonderfully Roman-inspired civilization. How are we getting on with planting with the forester's hut? Do we need to move you along? Is there no spots left for planting? Possibly not. Let's move you along then. To work here. And you're also busy in your own extensions as well, to be fair. Country is full. That simply won't do. You better empty it then, hadn't you? Suppose that should really be the granary's job. It's probably looking a little bit stretched at the moment. They are, yes. Maybe let's get a second family working at the granary. Ooh, look at that. Look how green that is. You'll never see that again. It usually does not stay that way through my playthroughs, believe me. Believe you me. Alright, 217 days. We've got 20 of our own. We've got a little bit of our retinue as well. And money to hire in mercenaries should it be necessary. Still bringing in a little bit of money. Could do with making more charcoal, to be honest. Always forever worker starved down here. Waiting for the church to go up together. Hopefully with the church we might be able to get above that 80% approval and finally get to a +2 monthly migration. Let's up the priority of that so it keeps being built. But start to consider some further expansion with burgages. So we might as well get our last burgage in here for our vegetable quadrant. There we go. And then, are we going to go this way or that way? I think we go this way. So, having said that, we do have one of the, well, the only King's Road that does run through here. Love to see the day when we don't have to deal with this anymore. They can actually delete this one because it's the little one, but the game will still think it's there, so there's no point in doing that. What to do here, though? I mean, we can still get some reasonable sized orchards in there. They're just not going to be exactly the same shape as these. So that's fine. We want to preserve this road here. Should be fine. We want to preserve that one there. And this one here. Terrain's also a bit bumpy here, so we might have some building issues related to that as well. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 here. So we'll extend this one. And then the same here. And here. I'm going to delete that one, but can't hurt to go over it again, can it? And then coming around the corner. This one here. And that one there, I believe. So now we should safely... oh, actually... Yeah. Should safely be able to delete that road. Okay. And we should safely be able to... Oh no, didn't want to delete that one actually. Last. Can I guess where that was? No. Get our course put out, pop that in there, and do that alongside it. Good. Delete that so we don't accidentally build it. And then we want to get rid of that one, that one, that one, and that one, and that one. Lovely, so that's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 next spaces available to us. Maybe we should have this little road in here. It's going to make transport between the outer and inner regions much easier. Nah. We'll wait for the church to be built. We might leave it there for the minute, but when we come to build the walls, I think we will get rid of them. Ooh, bandit camp sighted. Are they nearby? No, they are relatively nearby. We've got time to go and deal with it. Let's take our own men this time. We'll rally the troops. And then let's get our next burgages planned. So I think this one we can more or less go with a regular shape. A little bit like that there. Yep. And then come back across here. A bit too far there. Do that. There we go. The others might be a little bit different. Weird sector in there as well, but it's fine. Where's my banner, boys? We're not going to banner? There we go. No need to run. But we're going to make our way over here towards some bandits, and we're going to bash them around the head with our lovely shields, and we're going to poke them in the bellies with our spears. Comprende? Comprende. Right. Church complete. Grain is lagging. And otherwise, we're ready to crack on. And look at that. That's upgrade time. Let's oblige. Or we would say oblige, but we could do with a few more logs. Let's get a third family working at the logging camp, maybe. See if we can't produce more lumber. Not quite there on their approval yet. We'll have to wait and see how we go. More burgages going up over there. And we should have a reasonable amount of iron, but now indeed we do. 41 slabs. 68 left in the mining pit. What we do want to do then, actually, is get one of these built and up to level 2 as soon as we possibly can. Alternatively, put one of these up to level 2 and rebuild them elsewhere, but I don't really want to have to do that. I think we'll wait for those two down there, so we can make someone into a blacksmith. Move our troops into range. I'm not going to shield wall up, actually, because we didn't need to last time. So hopefully we won't need to this time either. Just keep on balanced and let our troops do the work. There's more of us this time than there was last time. Let them come to us. Hopefully it should be a foregone conclusion. Just let our lads do their thing. I would have thought a shield wall would be a certain way to defeat these bandits without taking any losses, but perhaps I'm learning a lesson. Look how much they spin these days. They never used to do that, did they? The fight used to be quite linear, which I didn't mind. This whole spinny thing doesn't make much sense to me. It's rather annoying if you're trying to protect archers as well, as I frequently am. So far so good. Lovely, right, they've just defeated them again. Obviously my shield wall tactic is completely unnecessary. I don't need to do it anymore. Right. Let's go in there and claim the booty for ourselves. And then we can get these lads back home to their jobs. Belongs to me now. Thank you kindly, sirs. Go home, please. You've got work to do. Right, we need people moving in down here as soon as possible. But there are a few things that were built before it. Might need to change the purpose of these buildings, which I don't like to do. Blast. Right, well, we'll get an upgrade over there anyway. Just in case we do need to do that. Do want to get the rest of that iron out. How are we doing on the foraging? Okay, it's shrinking now, so we're not going to need to be getting in mushrooms for much longer. We've got plenty of food and fuel. We've got 19 months of food, so plenty enough now. We've got the extensive amounts coming out of our burgages down here. We'll get some carrots to be planted in there. And we'll carry on with some upgrading. Got 2 families to work on that at the moment. Storehouse is looking a little pushed, but not too bad. I'd say it's all going relatively well. Not enough construction materials. Well, medium village. Fantastic. You better all take care of that. Get on with it all, please. That's what I say. These logs are taking an age. Again, they're going reasonably far, I suppose, to do the logging is the issue. We should be getting plenty planted, though. How are you guys getting on here? Looking for planting spots, but you're also harvesting and working on your own projects. Let's get you disbanded and back to your jobs, your day jobs. Are they finding anywhere to plant? Planting, yes, there are still some spots out there to plant, so we don't need to move them just yet to a new area to work on. Keep our upgrades going along here. It's tempting to get this converted over to a blacksmith's workshop. So we're going to need tools before too long as well. Indeed. It's not quite there on our monthly migration yet. Right, we're going to have to do it. You are going to become a blacksmith, and we will have to get another burgage set up to be a goat boy. Possibly one of these 2 down here. Put an animal pen on both of those then. And just as soon as this popped together, we'll set them making us some lovely spears, which indeed they are already. And we probably don't need more at this point than, say, 40 spears spare. Going to need some shields as well, obviously. I fear that is what you're going to be for. There wasn't any point in buying a whole bunch of pigs and goats for them. Oh well. Things happen. I'll assign a family from there. And can we save someone from the logging camp? We'll have to for the time being. So we've got an unassigned family to help guide the oxen. And let's set you up to make shields. Indeed you are. Again, surplus of 40 is more than enough. And there should always be at least 20 planks sat around before you start making them. As you can see, that's meaning our militia can start to grow in size already. How's the AI getting on then in their far less organised settlement? Look at it, it's all over the place. What a bunch of hopscotch. They've got a stone church already. My good gravy. Well, they've got stone nearby, so we'll chalk it up to that, shall we? Not them being more efficient than us or anything like that at all. No, absolutely not. We'll upgrade that there. We're getting some pollination over here. 45%. Ooh. Not bad at all. We do have a fair amount of meadow here as well, I believe. 43% meadow. We'll be chopping down more trees over time, so it's going to become more meadow, although we'll also be making it more industrialized and populated as well, so... What do they call it? Struggling for words here. Rural, not rural. Farmland, not farmland. Urban! That was the word I was looking for. Good grief. Difficult's on one at the moment. Sorry, everyone. My brain simply is not working. That's just the way it is. Things will probably one day be the same. 50 iron remaining there. Still producing iron, just being turned into lovely pointy sticks. Bad, so many pointy sticks. Excellent. Just the shields that we're waiting on, so we should be fairly well equipped to face these raiders when they arrive in just over 100 days. It'd be great to get this approval up to 80%, wouldn't it? Now, we do need to do some repairs. Let's temporarily flip this back over to a production of some tools. We probably ought to set up that own limit. We'll set that up to be 20 for the time being, so that we can keep our various pieces of equipment well maintained, and we'll just keep on plugging away with the level 2 upgrades as and when we have the materials. They're not doing anything because it's past the time to be planting, so we might as well free them up to help with construction for the moment, or maybe even get them working at the logging camp during the winter. Speaking of which, we should be done with the mushrooms, so we can free up those workers. And let's get some more wood cut down. And then we'll, focus back on the upgrades. Do with another worker at the storehouse, but we'll just ignore that for the time being. Well, that road didn't continue there, but it looks like it does. It's okay. And let's get ourselves... Ooh, a bit low on planks. How are we doing for money? We're 56. Let's order ourselves another ox. We must get another horse at some point as well. Hopefully with more firewood we'll be able to up the amount of charcoal we're creating there, which will give us in turn more export. Alrighty. Things are going well. Food certainly isn't a problem. Got nearly 2 years worth of stuff. A couple of vegetable gardens popped on here. So we've got what? Carrot, cabbage, beet, carrot, cabbage, beet, carrot, beet. So we need another cabbage. Yes. That's fine. Try and keep it relatively even. Right there. And it'd be nice to get some sheep at some point as well. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the livestock trading post. At least we would if we had any timber. Tell you what, until the raid arrives, let's just gather a few materials, make our way through winter, and then we'll rejoin this when we're a little bit further prepared and ready to push on. Make yourselves a lovely cup of tea. Pat yourself on the back. You're doing great. So there I was, quite happily enjoying watching my town grow a little bit, well, in terms of getting a few more resources pumped out, and goodness gracious, I completely forgot. It was raid time, wasn't it? The initial raiders have arrived, fortunately. They've arrived nowhere near us. They're up here next to the AI. So hopefully, they get decimated, and not us, although they have managed to rally their own forces, although they don't appear to really know what they want to do. They're going to walk into the pond, are they? Looks like they've got a couple of units of spear. Oh, they're going for a swim. Very exciting. Where are the brigands, then? Are they in this forest? There they are. They're running away from them. What's going on here? Are they going for the retinue? Well, I'm certainly glad this is happening to the enemy, not to us. It looks like with that many units, they're going to easily be able to deal with those initial brigands. Not even so much as a burnt building. No excitement at all for us. Anywho, enough of all that shenanigan. Let's get back over to our own settlement. So we've only got one space for people to be moving into, and then all of a sudden we'll be out of boggish plots. So I think we probably ought to build a few more. These over here as well. What have we got? We've got 364 of initial wealth. So, God blimey, Governor. They're claiming that's all they are. It's a bit brave, isn't it? I suppose they're high off their recent victory, and the AI is making their first move. Shall we counter-move? Take our lads and get that bandit camp? I think we shall. Get some influence for ourselves. Not overly bothered about claiming another region just at this stage, but I'm sure we will before too long. Right, let's get the lads assembled. And let's get down here and buy ourselves some quinces and some apples. I think that's a good use of money, so we can get some initial veggie plots going. And finally got a bit of timber, because they're just at the limits at the plank mill placey thing. So let's come over here and make use of this space to get ourselves a couple more little, how do I say, orchard boys or orchard gals. I don't mind either way, really. Did we even bother putting one in the space here? If it will follow the outside properly. I shan't, because it cannot be. That's fine, we can put one on this side. Lads are still gathering, no point in sending the retinue. We don't need to run, we just need to meander. That's right, meander your way over there. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Thank you, team. Work as a team, remember? Don't go all individual-like. So that'll give us an additional plot for someone to move into. I've got another worker at a new logging camp that I popped over just over here. Another ruler's army? That's terribly rude. What are they doing coming this way? They're coming for the brigands themselves. Scrap the poodling, run. We want to take all this glory for ourselves. We shan't share it. No. Right. Boop. Boop. Tell you what. You lads go and get the camp, will you? I'm sure these chaps have got it handled. Keep going, what are you doing? Send me the money. Thank you kindly. Now come on over in case your friend wants a hand. So far, no losses. Terribly good. Should certainly hope not too. Right, chill. Chill and kill. My favourite combination. Right, back home everyone. Oh look, it's night time again. How ambient. What ambiance. So those burgages being constructed there, we were considering, weren't we, moving into the whole sheep game. Now where would we keep our sheep, I wonder? I ponder this upon you, my dear people. Where shall we sheep? Possibly on the outside, I think. I think we would pasture outside of the town itself, wouldn't we? Wouldn't have sheep inside a Roman city, would you? Let me know in the comments below if you think you would. I suppose maybe under buildings to provide heat. Is that particularly Roman? I don't know. Something in my head is saying stable and manger, and I'm just not listening. Maybe let's get a permanent lad assigned there. By lad, I mean ox, of course. He could be a lad ox. I don't see why that couldn't be a thing. We'll get ourselves a few hitching posts over here as well. Where could we pop those? Is there space in here? Ew, lovely. I think that'd be a good spot to put them, wouldn't it? Since it's not going to be much use for much else. Can I only get one in there, though? That'd be terribly sad, wouldn't it? So, we can get one there. Get one here? Oh, so sad. Oh, well, we'll get one there in any case, and then maybe we'll put a couple in here. And then we can use that space for other things. Plenty of wells would be a absolutely brilliant idea as well. So people have to walk less so far to get their lovely drinky boos. So we'll put them down just there. And I feel like time is rather running away from us. We're not making a whole lot of progress. So let's see if we can't fix that little snitch. So how are we doing for weaponry? 40 spears, got 35 large shields, and it's just recruits that we are indeed missing. So we're going fairly well on the old military front. Got a couple of new mortgages down here. Let's get these set up with some lovely... press the wrong button. It's all gone wrong. Well, it's an extra space for someone to live, but we will need to get an orchard set up there shortly thereafter. We are digging up the last of that iron, and then we might as well get a couple of mortgages on that spot there, I suppose. Just 5 of the stuff left. Making good use of the mushrooms. Then maybe we could do with an additional lad foraging. And by lad, I mean family. Over here, we've also got some more veggies to put down. So what have we got? We've got cabbage, beet, carrot. Beet, carrot, cabbage. Beet, carrot, cabbage. And then we'll wait because we've run out of money. Oh dear. Now we could do with making a bit more money, really. I mean... Who couldn't, am I right? But to do that, we're probably going to need to sell something more valuable than just charcoal. You can see we did fairly well, actually, planting up this little circle here. We've been working on this one. Let's just double check that that forester isn't done here. Maybe struggling for planting spots. So it looks like they are, so let's maybe move them along once more. And I believe I also set up... I did, yes. Look, a second forester's hut. Are you finding spots to plant? You are, so you're fine. I actually set you a slightly larger area to work to. Not much larger, but just hidden there. Ooh, grades. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? We finally got the material. Well, I suppose we might as well. Get a couple of upgrades on the way. But enough of absolute ramblings, typical. What are you going to do in this lovely relaxing day? Well, you're going to do something useful. Let's check our market stall levels, because I do rather fear that we might be falling behind. Oh, good heavens, we certainly are. Let's get ourselves another worker at the large storehouse, so we can get on top of the storehouse problems, and then we'll get another family worker at the granary to get on top of the granary problems. There we are, all that lovely and salt. But of course, that only leaves us with one family unassigned, which is not an awful lot. So we'll wait for him to continue doing his construction work, and then we shall have to consider further expansion. Of course, we do want to expand into the center here, towards the manor, the central city area, more densely populated. Oh, look, we can free our lad up from the mining area, because he's done with mining. We'll demolish that, move those supplies out the way, and then we'll look to build something there. Oh, it's terribly depressing, isn't it? Nighttime and rain. That's no fun. That simply won't do. Well, we're just going to put up with it, aren't we? A couple more baggages then. So, let's go same as we have been doing elsewhere. What? Not enough goods? Where's all my timber? We've got so many families working in the timber industry. Where do they actually live, though? So, let's check. Timber Boy 101. Hello, Timber Boy 101. One timber boy there. Am I blind? I am blind. What do you do? Sowing and ploughing. Most of your ploughing and, in fact, not going to do the choppy. And that's because most of our villagers thus far live inside berg spots where they do lots of farming. So I think that is the root cause of our issue. In which case, it's even more imperative that we get down a couple more burgages whom are neither specialists nor are farmers. So we have a few people who can assign to other jobs. So we'll build those two there, and for that reason we'll pop expansions on them as well when the time comes. And in the meantime, I wonder if we could reassign a few families to make sure we are getting the most out of people. Again, most of the population is coming from these places. I mean, what do you do? What are your jobs? You're unassigned? Well, you can go and... I mean, let's unassign the logging camp workers. So they'll go and fill other posts. So we'll put you there, because you don't have much else to do. And we'll come in here. So you're a smelt and granary worker. Okay. What do you two do? No, of course you're joiners, aren't you? You don't have many dense burgages. And you? Forester. So what if I reassigned you to the logging camp? Yeah, what happened to that first family? I want you to work at the logging camp. Why? For mistake, right? I'm going to pause the game. I'm going to make you work there whether you want to or not. You dastardly fiend. Unassigned. Reassigned to workplace. Logging camp. Thank you very much. Right. Now, did the forestry get another worker? It didn't. Let's just hire a random lad. Yes, you work at the nearby regular mortgage plot. That's absolutely fine. Oh, look at all the planted space. They made use of all. It is simply lovely. That's two families at the log camp who don't have to work at fields. So hopefully they'll be far more efficient in what they do. I'm also going to reassign the smelter and send them to work at the logging camp. And then we will get another lad at the bloomery, who one again I presume will be, yes, from somewhere with a field. But that's fine, because they can do that during the winter. They can do their job down at the bloomery during the winter, and they can go and plant their fields and harvest at other times of year. And that should leave 3 sets of families who've got nothing better to do, really, apart from the occasional bit of chicken handling or honey gathering, to go and chop down trees. And look at that, they are. And already I think we're starting to see a small influx in the number of trees available to us in the form of logs. Timber. Down here then, let us requisition some chickens. Or why not, I ask. Do we have just enough money to purchase an ox? We do, so I shall purchase an ox. We never got as far as putting an orchard in there. She will do that now. And I wonder if we expand into the last slot over here with some more mortgaging. And then we'll start to maybe move inside, so we've got some dense population around the church. And we'll have to get down a granary and storehouse, obviously, as well. And then we can start expanding around the outside, because if we keep getting more workers in these larger burgages, we're never going to have people to go and do proper jobs, like cutting down trees, as we have just rectified. That situation is going to be worse. Right. What do you mean? What kind of snapping is that? It's absurd, is what that is. Absolutely absurd. Do you want to come from a different snapping point? Are you being special? I think there's anything wrong with being special. We're all a little bit special, aren't we? Maybe I'm just speaking for myself there. I think everyone knows Typical's a little bit special. You know what? I own it. It's fine. Plenty of food, plenty of fuel, and plenty of trees. At least there is until we get properly going now with the old choppy. Maybe it won't be for too long. Any bandit camps? No, we're looking absolutely rosy out there. It would be nice to get this approval up. We're very nearly 80%, which is a +2 monthly migration. In fact, getting a couple of upgrades might get us there. Now timber is more available. Perhaps we should go through and press the wrong button a few times and put expansions on instead of upgrades, for goodness sake. Watch what you're doing, man. Right. So, we'll need another granary and storehouse before too long. And it looks to me there is a perfect spot within the region of the wooden church. So we'll get down. Oh, wonderful. It's perfectly there. Makes Typical so happy. So we'll get this down here as well. It's a lovely space for a market stall here. And I can't see any problems with having a market stall in the forum outside of a religious building. Historically, religious leaders in Roman times have never got upset about a marketplace being outside of a church. Nope, don't know what you mean. No tables are going to be flipped. I'm sure it will be absolutely fine. They can exchange money and stuff. It'll be good. Ooh, more upgrades, I presume. Ah, I've pressed the wrong button again. Typical. Pull yourself together, man. Totally too busy making spurious references to other things. Well, we can at least get some upgrades actioned at the others. Again, just low on logs. One needs more logs. It's because I've set to make quite a few planks. And we do need planks as well. We also need logs. It's a balance, you know. Let's up the priority of getting this little chap done here, because I want people moving into these burgages. Like the granary still has to be overtaken there to some degree. And we do really want to move towards getting some lovely sheep so that we can get some clothes made, which will in turn make people happy. And happy people make for breeding. Make for people that want to move in. Yes. Where shall we put our livestock trading? Well, if we do it over here, have a sheep farm over here as well, and then perhaps over here somewhere we could do a little bit of sheep penning. My favourite activity. That's weird. Let's put a little connecting road here. Maybe we'll have a couple of sally gates out of the main settlement here on this side to better serve the agricultural region. With that in mind, we shall construct an livestock trading post. There we are. And where can one best place this? Looks like it's just going to be there. Okay. And then we shall build an sheep farm also. Here we are. Plop that down there. And I suppose we could have a little pasture in here, couldn't we? And that could almost be like where the sheep are first imported to wait in. I like the idea of that. Then we'll make the use of the rest of this space here for something else useful, which is, of course, oxen. Because this looks like a prime spot for us to get a few more stables ensconced. I do love the opportunity to use the word ensconced. What's your favourite word that Typical likes to spuriously spew across my long plays? Oh, spuriously spew. Oh dear, he's losing the ability to talk. Ignore him, ignore him. We got money again. Ain't that nice? We'll buy ourselves some pears then, in that case. And issue some upgrades. 5 burgages for once people can move into. New granary and storehouse being constructed, but I shall make them grand and large to cope with all of the numerous goods we shall of course be giving ourselves. How are we getting on with planting up? You are not planting, you are shrooming. How are we getting with planting up this area? Oh, you too work at some sort of farming burgage. Will not be as efficient then. We might have to change that later on. Any bandits? No bandits. Never mind, I'm sure we'll come across a few later and have to deal with them with utmost haste. Real mash of voices today from Typical. Can you tell I've had a lovely cup of tea? And it was filled with this wonderful substance called caffeine. It did all sorts of things to my brain. Can we spare a worker for the sheep farm? We could, but we don't have any money. How could we get more money? How could we get more money, people? Think, people, think. You could sell your excess shields. Oh, wonderful idea. Thank you, dear commenter. Your voice is exactly as I imagined it would be. So, apologies, everyone. I'm very grateful you watch my videos. Don't leave. You're making up to 40. I'm going to let you make up to 100. At least I would if I had my numlock turned off. 100. Excuse me as I did my voice there a little bit. And then we'll go to the trading post. I suppose we'll need to afford that trade, though, won't we? We'll have to save up. So we'll save up to make an export of shields. Oh, it's only 60. It's not too shabby. And yes, we want a surplus of 40. We'll wait until we have 60 coins, and then we shall try to remember. Put it in all the right place. And look at that, a bandit camp. Oh, it's local, too. Rally the men. There's fun to be had. We're going to go poke some people in the bottoms with some sharp objects. Nothing like a bit of... no. Let's not go that way. Anywho, away from my slightly dubious line of thought, I'm going to charge our lads at the brigands' bottoms and see if we can't do some damage. Another lovely bit of influence and money for our own coffers and our own prestige. Here they come. We'll just line up here and wait to absorb them into our shields and faces. They won't be a problem at all. Right, men. Remember, aim for the bottoms. They don't like it up, sir. They don't like it up. Oh, gosh. Some noises there coming from the various people involved that would suggest that they are definitely following my orders. Very disturbing indeed. We'll keep out here at a distance, I think. Right, send you to go and get the booty. Oh dear, it's a terrible use of language. And then we'll send you back to the camp. Disband you once you arrive. Come on, get my goodies. It belongs to me now. Thank you for all your hard work. Please go home and carry on working in your domestic settings. Don't say I'm not grateful to my troops. Few more upgrades as and where they are allowed. 4 spots fields moving in. 7 unassigned workers. Maybe we could get a granary and storehouse over here. Come on, back to your jobs, please. Maybe we could probably sell food, couldn't we? We've got 23 months of food. And so let's go into trade and let's go to food. And because cabbages are worth a fair bit. Are they a major trade? Cabbages are, but beets, etc. aren't. So let's set an export on everything over, say, 300. I think that should set us enough. And we'll do the same for carrots. 300 on that, because I presume it's going to be spoiling over a certain level anyway. And cabbages. Export everything over maybe 250. We'll have to wait until we've got a bit of money to buy some dedicated trade routes. Though we could go ahead and buy a beet trade route, I suppose. Seeing as we do have some spare beets at present, and it's only going to get more with all the number of baggages that we have producing us lovely, lovely vegetables. It's taking them a while to build the granary and storehouse in here, isn't it? How is production? Yeah, granary's a bit stretched. You could activate the granary in here, but it's not that close to a load of baggages, to be honest. Might need another granary and storehouse in the outskirts somewhere. Something to consider. Although we could put one in each corner, couldn't we? I wonder if that would be enough. Probably not, but we can try. We can certainly try. 4 Borgish slots. Would we add anywhere elsewhere? Maybe we need to get another worker at the trading post. We could probably do with another horse as well, actually, although that one's waiting. Do we not have loads of stuff to export? What's our limit on the old charcoal? We've got plenty of charcoal. We should be selling that left, right, and indeed centre. Waiting and going home. That simply won't do. Wasting time. No wonder we've not got money coming in a hand over the proverbial foot. So much to spend our money on, and so little money with which to spend. Such is the problem we face. Let's get down here, and let's burgage. Let's burgage real good. So, come in here. Oh, there we go. Want our expansion space, don't we? We do have to place this just right to get it. So maybe we'll go and build 4 to start with. Or do we just fill up the space? We could just fill up the space, although I think we're going to run out of the old timber. There's always more where that came from. At least there is, so long as we keep our foresters away. Righty. Those there. How are we getting on at this forestry? You've got plenty of work to be doing, it would appear. And on the whole, things are looking pretty dandy, aren't they? Ooh, look, an upgrade. Don't mind if I do. We need to give you something to do back here. Let's construct some animal pens in anticipation of having some animals bought in. Let's upgrade you in lieu of the fact that we don't have enough money to purchase you any seeds at present. We'll get there though, we'll get there. And at least we have got some orchards in the planting as well, which hopefully will take care of nicely in the later game with a whole bunch of fruits. And look at that, Just ticked over to 80% approval. How wonderful. Good news indeed. It'll be even better once we have some clothing, which is taking a while to get off the ground, I will admit, because of the lack of finances. Let's assign 2 more people to the trading post to see if we can't boost this thing along a little bit. I wonder if the issue is who's working here, actually. Right, let's unassign everyone. Change my mind. And let's go and see if we can assign you a few people whom have nothing better to do but work for you. Go trade. So you're a woodcutter, and you are a woodcutter. That's fair enough. The woodcutting place is next door. Is anybody free from one of these less busy plots? No, you're all in the orchards. You're new people, are you? We have 11 unassigned families, but we might have to wait for a few people to move into the smaller burgages. You're unassigned, so you can go and work at the trading post. Oh, look, money. It's tempting to buy a horse, but what I am going to do is buy ourselves that trade route. And it's 90. Fine, we'll buy a horse. Fine. What do you do? You're unassigned. Oh, good day, sir. You can go and work at the trading post. Lovely stuff. Well, I think that's everyone from a small burgage assigned. There will obviously be more people as people move into these over here, and we can pop expansions on, etc. as well. So we'll be able to build up the trading post team, but even just 2 there without other jobs should be more efficient than the ones we had there previously. I'd like to see that horse deployed, to be honest. They've got nothing even at the trading post. That's how inefficiently it's being run. No one's bringing anything to it. We've got plenty of families for construction, so I suppose we should try and keep pushing in that general direction so that we can keep getting things built while we have people free. Let's get these built here. It's interesting that I have to do 2 clicks at the top here, others only get 1 burgage. But when I'm going back the other way, I have to do a little one to get 2 burgages. Not enough goods. That's outrageous. Chop me down a tree right now. Thank you. Oh, very obedient, isn't it? My settlers usually ignore what I'm saying. We didn't say at 80% approval for long, did we? Well, that wasn't to be expected, given we didn't really have a solid source of approval. We're starting to gather a little bit of charcoal. One of you's carrying it right already. Okay, there is hope for trade once more. Burgages are being built. Beets are being beaten. Cabbages are being cabbaged. Carrots are being eaten. And of course, horses are being ridden. That all made total sense in my head. I don't know why you're just wondering what I'm going on about. Look, difficulty rambling was in the description. Don't complain now. Yes, I'm slightly insane. Yes, I don't make a lot of sense. But I do hope you were entertained, at the very least. Ooh, some rain. It's going to dampen the mood, isn't it? Look, money. Isn't it exciting? Tempted to buy trade routes. We'll just hold off a second and see if we can't gather a little bit of money. I suppose we might as well get another logging camp working over there. We've got plenty of people available. And get another work at the storehouse down here. Where did you move in? Welcome, welcome to your new abode. I shall buy you and pig. Congratulations, you are now a pig farmer. Just what you always wanted, I am sure. Well, we've surrounded the church with those burgages, and I'm starting to think that this Roman city is rather small. I mean, it's not quite as grand as some of the others we built, but hopefully it will be perfectly geometrically formed, and therefore beautiful to my eye, and horrible to some of yours, I assume, as well. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. You know what I'm saying? Bruh. Splendid. I'm one happy typical. But progress continues to need to be... What was that sound? If someone hunting a wild animal. I had an arrow. I was like, oh, what's going on? But it was all okay. It was all fine. We've pretty much filled up 1 quarter here, haven't we? Yeah. Let's just keep pushing. Do we get the ship up and running now? Probably need to bring in a bit more money first. Fine, let's go to the trade post. And let's look at the livestock today. 1 is still waiting. So, what do we need? 90 to buy the trade route for the large shields. We only want a surplus of 40, dear sir. 410? No, 40. Well, if we've got the material, I wonder if we want to perhaps up the production limit slightly to maybe 150. so we can make even more for the sale. 11 spots we'll be moving in. Approval is slow because we've done things rather slowly. What do you want? Fruit, animal produce. Well, some of those might actually come to us before we get the garments situation up and running anyway. 78. I'm keeping an eye on that. We'll purchase the shields trade route. Once we have that, hopefully money will start to flow in a little bit freer. Purchase some food trade routes so we can export the excess vegetables we are making. Hopefully we get the 80% approval and get people moving in at a much faster rate, which will enable us to get the granaries and storehouses here activated, start pushing out into some of the other sectors, make sure we've got lots of trees planted, because look at that, we've really chewed through these here, haven't we? Let's move the forestry area to back over here, so we can work on what is being freshly lopped. That was definitely the issue there. All of our workers were working on their fields and not chopping down trees the whole day long. And then, of course, we ought to think about where we're going to get our dressed stone from our walls. I mean, is there... Oh, look! A large rich stone deposit just here next door. I wonder if we ought to be claiming this region. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to claim this region. Janu will be mine. And we could set up a little stone export community over here. That might be something we could even do next year. We've got a little bit of money in the old treasury. And it's right next door, so we could easily defend it with our own troops. It's not like we're at risk of it being raided by brigands, because it's, you know, no further away than the other side of our settlement. I like that plan. Stone outpost for our stone walls. Oh dear. 12 times speed, or 8 times speed, but compared to 12, 8 times speed feels rather slow when you're just waiting for things to happen. But it is what it is. What 181 monies. I've been so busy rambling, I haven't been paying attention to how much dough we had. Right, let's buy a purchased large shield route. Such great language. You wouldn't know it's my first, would you? Let's export some large shields then, to get us even more dough. And can we afford any trade routes for food? I think we probably can. Let's buy a carrot trade route. And we won't be able to afford a cabbage trade route. 200 coins to sell a cabbage. Ridiculous. Ah, Chanyu is ours. I don't know if we're going to settle it this spring. I suppose we could do, potentially. It is a possibility. We filled up 2 units of spear, which fields the question, am I going to do my usual tactic of a whole bunch of crossbow boys, or do we go more infantry this time? Splendid stuff. Well, I think we're moving in generally the right direction, and the money, although it's not there right now, is starting to come our way. And we're coming out of February, going into the spring months, and a bandit camp has just been spotted. So we're going to rally the lads, and we'll see if we can't take care of these scallywags. They're ensconced over here in Ambrigbach, or something like that. Welsh coming out there. And we'll take our leisurely time in making our way over there, nearly to Rush, gentlemen. Send you to that location there. That seems like a good starting point. Now, a bit shy in the regional wealth. Hopefully we'll be selling a few more of the shields we're making before too long, and that'll bring us in a nice bit of income. But as we get a bit better stocked on resources, which we're really starting to do now, and we start to expand a bit further, got 8 available living spaces, we'll be able to start manufacturing some even more goodies. And of course we do want to get on and do a bit of sheep farming at some stage. We've got all the infrastructure over here ready, we just need people, and we need money. Money is always the name of the game, and of course we're still buying in iron. Oh, looks like we've aggravated with the little bandits over here, so let's pop on over this way and set ourselves up. Let's see if we can't bomb their heads in. And make sure we're not on a downhill. Bomb. Shield wall up. Boink. There we go. Shouldn't have any losses with that battle tactic, should we? Come on, lads. Do your job. Do your duty. It's getting dark. Yes, quite. We have that on, don't we? Good. Right, victory is ours. You can go home. And you can run on and take care of the bandit camp for us, please, dear sirs. That'd be simply wonderful. Come on, come on, come on. This is mine. Yes, it belongs to my treasury now. Thank you so kindly. Go home. Your job here is done. Don't think we have any other bandit camps. No, we don't. Fab, let's speed time back along, but actually then let's pause it, because we're so inconsistent. Or at least I am, anyway. Ha ha ha. So, we have 545 in our treasury. And we're going to use that to fly on down here and get ourselves some settlers' tents. So we have the strong source of stone here, the rich resource, I should say, but the animals are all the way over there. But we could make use of the berries as a starting resource, and I do want to be closer to this side here, next to where Shenfoot is, because that's where our protecting military is going to be. If we start all the way over here and someone raids in this way, we're a little bit pooped, aren't we? So let's go into here, administration, get ourselves a settlers' camp, and why not start just here, basically? I think that's a good enough spot, isn't it? Just on that junction there. We'll go for... we'll go for an average start. Ooh, no, it costs a lot. Fine, we'll go for modest. We'll do it the hard way. And let's get on then. The huge. So, how do we do this? Do we go for granaries and storehouses straight away, or do we play it risque and see if we can't get some burgages up? Decisions. Right, well, let's start with the all-important logging camp. We know we're going to need that. And we'll pop this literally right next to the starting settlement, which literally is across the road there. It's no good at all, is it? Not very handy. And then we'll go right ahead and get some housing put down, I think. And we want to have fairly early on some veggie plots to get us some food over here. I'm not thinking we're going to do the same grid over here. It's going to be a little outlying settlement. We might just build it along the road here. I think that might look quite nice. So to that end, let's put that in this direction. And we could do the ye old typical tactic. Yes. And I don't know. I'm feeling a bit weird today, everyone. I do apologize. It is what it is and all that. Maybe let's get a couple of small mortgages. And then we'll build a big mortgage behind. That'll be our first veggie mortgage. How's that sound to everyone? I think it sounds lovely. So we'll build those. And we will get an ox post just as soon as we can. But let's speed time up. They're all nice and close to the construction, so hopefully they can get everything done nice and quickly. While we're doing that, let's make sure we're disbanding these lads as soon as they get home. So they get back on with their jobs. Lovely. Let's get a few families chopping down trees straight away. And as soon as we have some trees, we want to build another hitching post. And we'll order an ox and relocate this one over here. The little road going off there. And already, hopefully another couple of timber. First lot of rain won't destroy our starting food. So I'm not going to panic about that right now. Let's get another small burgage here. And then we'll put one next to it. Should be another one with a rear garden. Hopefully we don't lose any of those starting resources. Usually I start earnestly with getting ourselves a granary and storehouse. I really hope this rain doesn't last too long. I think you get the first rainstorm free in the regular game mode without it being too distraught. So hopefully we'll survive that. There we go. Get that built there as well. And now the next thing we want to build is going to be the granary and the storehouse, which I think we'll just put off this little road here. That makes sense to me. So we'll extend that down a little bit there. And we'll see about getting down granary first. Just there. And then a storehouse next door. Turn off Snappy and get those sat together nice and tight. Good. And already we're up there with the housing. Look at that. That was quick, wasn't it? Maybe that is the better way to do things. Going to need a well. Don't forget the wells, typically. You always forget the wells. Good gravy, man. And that looks like a splendid spot to put one just there. And as for the perk in this area, it would seem to make sense to me to have something related to... what? Development. Thank you. I got lost there for a second. Do excuse my... Okay. So, we probably want to do stonemasons, do we not? Improved stonemason station, reduced castle power cost, improved stone gathering camp. Yes, but decreased labour speed for hunting and fishing. We might do some hunting later. And also, in all fairness, it doesn't take long to mine stone. It just takes people. So we could go for smallholders in that case. We could go for hunting hound. Increase capacity for forage good. That'd be good because our immediate start is next to the berries. We're not fertile here, are we? We're not. it's our home region. It is indeed fertile. You know what? Let's go and get ourselves a little bit of Vogtland. That's yes, I wanted to click there. Thank you very much. Yes. Sweet time along, and we're going to want to get the expansions popped on as soon as we can, so we've got spaces for people to be moving in. Of course, we'll need to go through and get our usual skew of buildings, so we want to bring in food, we want to make some firewood, timber, etc. So let's get a wood loppy boy, just here. And we'll get a saw pit, which we'll put just here, connect it up to the road there. We want to do some berry gathering. Just over there. Keep this nice and close to the granary, so the granary workers don't have to walk too far. Instead it will be the foragers that have to walk a little ways, but that's fine, I think, for the time being. Let's get a road coming out towards the berries that our little berry boys can use. Just making sure I haven't roaded over the bushes. Doesn't look like it. Lovely stuff. Let's get someone working at the granary quickly so we can get, and also the storehouse, so we can get some goods tucked away inside. We'll unassign someone from the log camp to leave someone for construction. But one spot for someone to move in, so we'll be able to make use of that initial migration. Quite keen to get more working again, although we are out of food. Yes. So getting someone working at the forager hut is probably going to be a priority, in total honesty. How are we doing over here? People just moving in. Got 7 burgers left still. Not up to about 80% approval, but I wouldn't expect to be at the moment because we don't have clothes. We're getting a bit of money, though. And we have got plenty of unassigned workers. Right, we'll revisit that in just a second, because it would be good to get the old clothing sector off the ground, as it were. Come on. Get that forager's hut up. Are all our goods moved inside? You're ill, you're not doing anything. Right, so there's no point you working there, is there? Okay. You've moved everything in. Looks like maybe some resources did get damaged. Right, we'll send 2 families to work at the forager's hut for the time being. Let's decide on where we want to have our market stall. This looks like a good location. Don't need to be that big too, gracious. That looks like it ought to do. We'll get that one down there. And we will unassign 1 family from the logging camp. We've got plenty of logs. We'll get you working at the saw pit. Set a reserve of 12 logs, which is quite a lot. And we want, say, 30 planks at any given time. So we'll get them on the go. Let's get ourselves some vegetable gardens in here. We're going to want to get a charcoal pit. We go over to industry. Get that one. Pop that in here, but leave space for a little connecting road in case we want to do something a little bit further out to the right here. Okay, another family has moved in. Let's get an expansion on there, so we've got space for someone else, and get another family working at the forager's hut. Trading post is something else we're going to need to get up and running. Hello, trading post. I suppose you would be in logistics. You tell Typical's taken a little break. It's been a while since I've recorded. I have forgotten approximately everything. I admit it. I've forgotten everything. Trading post there. Back over here in Shinford. Let's go ahead and get ourselves someone working at our livestock trading post. And we want to be importing, not lambs, we want to be importing some sheep. So, go to trade, sheeps, import. And I think we'll take 15 sheeps or something. I had a lot of sheeps, I know, but we'll get 15 of them. We get someone working at the sheep farm as well. And then, of course, we need to think about the surrounding industry too. So we've got a livestock trading post, we've got the sheep farm. We're going to need to build ourselves a weaver's workshop or 2. So maybe we'll start those just down here. Get one there. Let's actually get a storehouse here as well that we can dedicate to the storage of all things clothing related. Okay, and maybe just the one weaver's workshop is going to do us for the time being. But I'm tempted to get another one put in just in case. It's using up a lot of space though, isn't it? We'll get it there for the time being anyway. And then let's pop in here. And good gracious, there's a lot to be done here, isn't there? So what do we want you all doing? Well, we should probably get a few people working at the granary and storehouse, because I imagine we're a little oversubscribed in that particular area. Not too bad, actually. Okay, it could have been a lot worse. Whose stall's going? Want to save my pennies at the moment for the sheep, so I'm going to hold off on buying any of those fruit seeds over there for the time being. And what do we want to put in over here then? Well, how are we doing on food? So we could maybe do with a bit more pork. Obviously, fruits are going to come in time. Maybe eggs and milk. So why don't we go for some goats, etc. We can always change these later on. So we'll get some goat boys. You know, might do some pigs in them as well. So that gives all of our lovely construction workers something to do. I've seen some very exciting news. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen some exciting news. So, as you may already have seen, they're planning on building or bringing construction workhouses to the game. And two-tier construction where you need specialist construction workers and stuff. It's just fantastic. I can't wait. It sounds very much like the way they do things in Ostriv, which I am finding the prospect of very exciting. So hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit of change before too long to how things work in Manor Lords. So we've got a small pasture to start with. We've already filled up a little bit of space there. Why don't we go ahead and add ourselves a bit more pasture space around these other buildings we've got here to make use of our space. Okay, one there. I guess we'll go another one around this Weaver's Workshop to give us enough for the time being. How are we doing on logging and our foresters? Looks like they're busy. That's fine. Maybe a few more people working there, perhaps? We do have spare workers at the moment, don't we? Maybe another one working there. Trade-wise, let's order another horse and get a couple more people working at the trading post. Right, back over to the Newlands. We have some food. Let's get someone working at the granary so it can start to be stocked and shared with everyone. Also upgrade the granary to a large granary. Okay, we're doing pretty well with foraging. Let's unassign the sawpit worker for the time being. Send him to work at the woodcutter's lodge. And I'm going to take the last worker at the logging camp, send them to work at the charcoal kiln so we can start to make some charcoal. We'll go to the trading post. And let's set ourselves up and export on charcoal. Boom. To get some initial income coming in. Are we still selling charcoal over here? Bother. We don't want to be selling that from there anymore. We should be making our money through shields really here. And I imagine that's what mostly we're doing, yeah. Through shields. Although we have made a lot, obviously, historically. Through the charcoal trade, but no longer. We'll need to think about some more building over here before too long as well. Ooh, it's tempting. I want to buy sheep, but I also want to buy goats. Let's buy some goats. And let's buy some pigs as well. And let's also get some upgrades. We'll hold off on the doubled up living space for the time being. Until we know what we're going to do with the properties, and until we need the extra space. There's plenty of expansion we need to do first before we start thinking about doubling people up. Back on over here. How are we doing? We are starting to make charcoal. Wonderful. Got 5 months of food. It's going to be a little while before we need to worry about any fuel, but of course we are starting to make charcoal now, so that issue should take care of itself. Tempted to get some more housing down. So why don't we put in a little house in here? What could we do in this space? Something atrocious is the answer. Ooh, what was that shape then? There's something atrocious again. What do we put a little road in here? A little something like that there. And fill this space out. Sure, that could be a little vegetable patch, couldn't it? So we'll get that there. And almost space to do something here, isn't there? Ooh, that's bizarre. I like it. I'm not going to do it though. I think we just need to relocate this hitching post. Let's pop it down just here. Although we might be getting a bit close to the old stone deposit there. We'll have to wait and see about that. And that should leave us some space here to put some larger burgages in this corner. most efficient use of space. It's a little bit better. But I wonder if we should just come this way in its entirety. So build some smaller ones here, maybe. And then build one around them. Build something like that. Sure. Build that there. So that's going to give us a fair few additional living space accommodations. We're going to want to get someone working on trading away that charcoal fairly soon. We need to make sure we set up our export limit though. So probably only want 10 surplus. We're starting at a slightly lower point because it's not worth as much as it would be had we stopped selling it at the other settlement sooner. So it might take a little longer to get the trades off the ground, but it is what it is. Could potentially get a hunting camp. They've got a long way to walk, but they would probably still bring in some food. Maybe let's build a road out to them, just to give us that option later on if we so desire. I think that looks fairly good. Dabby dozy. Pretty happy with the start we've made here. Food does seem fine. We've got a few more families that are going to be moving in, and I'm sure that is going to put a bit of a strain on us in terms of our food production. But hopefully we can get some of these areas planted up, and that will help us out no end. Tempting to buy a horse fairly early on as well, but we shall just have to bide our time, I think. Getting the logging camp set up quickly definitely gave us a boost in terms of the amount of timber available, didn't it, for our various expansions. Kind of need a few more people to move in over here now, so we can get people working at the trading post, charcoal kiln, woodcutter's lodge, etc. Oh, there we are, so we're moving in. Let's actually send you to work at the woodcutter's lodge for the moment. We don't really need anyone working on construction, do we? I wonder if we send another family to work at the charcoal kiln. Maybe we send someone to work at the storehouse or trading post to help stock materials. So many decisions to be made, isn't there? Good gravies. How's the foraging going? I was getting most of the stuff. I'm going to take one of the foragers, and send them to work at the trading post, I think. Oh, bit of money coming in. It hasn't quite got us there for that, but we could go there. We wait for a horse. I might gamble and go for a horse first this time. Usually I'll get a couple of veggies in the ground before I do that, but we've got a fair number of berries that might even just see us through. Down to 3 available living spots over here. Let's go ahead and buy some pigs for these dear families. Some goats for these ones. Check up how we're doing with the granaries. Stretch, so we get an extra granary worker in there. And how are we doing for sheep? 6 so far. So maybe another worker at the livestock trading post would help the import go a little bit faster. Let's set up the limits on this storehouse. We'll just disallow everything for the moment, and then we'll go back through and say you can have clothes, and you can have shoes, you can have wool, and linen, leather, and yarn, and that should be everything that you need. We'll upgrade you, and we'll take away your status as someone that can have a market saw, because you don't need one. Let's get a family working at the nearby weaver's workshop so we can start to get some of that initial yarn produced. And where is that bandit camp popped in? Ooh, brief lightning there. Terrifying. It's all way over there, but I think we can go deal with it. So we'll rally the lads, and we'll see if we can't do some of God's work in God's country, taking care of God's foes. Sounds very, very late Roman Empire of us, doesn't it? Okay. What do we have? Apples, pears, quinces. This could be any of them. So I guess we'll go for the cheapest. Just so we can get something in the ground. Would be a good start, wouldn't it? Alright. 7 months of food. Okay. 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 50 regional wealth. We're nearly there at being able to afford to buy ourselves a horse. And I think that is what we're going to do, because we've got a fair amount of charcoal that we could now be exporting. Another unassigned family. Why don't we send you to work at the trading post? More the merrier. We've still got 17 planks and 18 timber. Let's get an expansion popped on there and on there with our free construction family. See if we can't get a bit more space available. And of course we're going to want to get ourselves a vegetable garden in there as well. Right. Come on. Let's not waste time. Let's deploy the lads before the AI decides to go and do our job for us and take the money and, of course, the ever so important glory. Talking of glory, iron is glorious. And the only region that I can see with a strong iron deposit is in the top right here, over in Renitz. Apart from, obviously, the one in the evil AI town. The people aren't evil, but, you know, they're ruled by an evil lord and need liberating. Maybe they've got gas. We could deliver gas and oil. Yes, maybe there's oil under here. We could deliver them some freedom. Yes, it sounds excellent. Sorry, getting a bit excited. Should we claim this region? Boop. Sounds a good idea to me. We'll deliver some freedom there, too. Yes. Experts in delivering freedom, the British. You know, we freed you all from yourselves, and then we freed you all to be yourselves again. So, really, we freed everyone twice. That might be a warped opinion. Might be a bad idea to talk politics. A Manor Lords video. Who knows? Let's just agree to not talk about it, shall we? Let's order a horse. And then let's very quickly build ourselves some stables where we can stable said horse so it doesn't decide to frolic off to another land. There's our other hedging post. There it is. We'll stable that as well. So we have enough space. Another family has moved in. Let's get the storehouse active. It's about time we did that, isn't it? How's our military getting on? Hello, lads. Walk forwards, please. Roughly towards the brow of the hill. Shield wall up and poke them with all your might, please. Oh, look, it's our region now, and now you should die. Okay. Good, good, good. Right, we outnumber you. Just give up. Just give up. Go home. Don't poke us with your swords. We're going to poke you with our spears, and we've got shields. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Very well done, men. Good job. Good job. Right, you can go there. And you can go home to your families. Which is oh so long away. Oh well. Yeah, nothing like a bit of peace and quiet. Am I right? Come on. Claim up. Claim up that bandit camp. Good lads. Send resources to the nearest town, please. And then head home. Splendid. We'll speed time up as everyone comes on back. Doing okay for regional wealth, despite the fact we're not taxing, but we've got a bit of income here now. Why don't we go over to the taxation and start with the 1%, so we don't affect our approval at all, and see if we can't get a little bit of money starting to come in to us. We are up to 10 sheep. Fantastic stuff. Might even need to get more than one person working at the sheep farm. They seem to be doing okay at the moment. Are we making any yarn yet? That'd be exciting. We are 12 yarn. We need to start thinking about getting someone to make clothes. And goodness, we've only got one spot for people to be moving in. We need to think about it very soon. Just quickly pop over here, though, and check on how things are going. One available spot for someone to move in. We have got another spare worker. I think maybe they should go and work at the logging camp. Start bringing in some logs again. Hopefully, we'll be able to start buying ourselves some beets. Indeed, get some beets planted in there for next year's harvest. 5 months. If you imagine, we're done with the wild berries. So we'll unassign our forage workers. A bit more money there. And let's then make good use of these people over the winter, because they can go and hunt. So we'll get our hunting camp down. We'll pop it down just here. And see if we can't get you doing some hunting. How are we doing on granary and storehouse supply chain? There's quite a few families here now. No, it's okay. It's okay. Good stuff. Right. We need to build some accommodation, don't we? So, what are we thinking? Well, continue to expand out in the centre would seem to make sense. How are we doing for vegetables, though? Because the outside provides that. Vegetables look fine, actually. That might be nice to continue to expand the good old... What am I trying to say? Fruit region. That's what I'm trying to say. Fruit region. So, obviously this is not a usually shaped thing, because you've got this road running through. Can we still chop it in half? Well, let's try, shall we? We can try, gosh damn it. So, go that way there. So that works. but I don't know how we'll do this. Do we have to put a little road in here, maybe? And then use that as the frontage of our property. Around like that? Okay, that works. That does work. Well, I'm glad we found something that worked, ladies and, of course, gentlemen. We'll put that across here. Put that down there. Continue on up on this side. And we'll just go through a little bit of an expansion phase, shall we? Grand. So that completes kind of our fruit quarter. The next fruit quarter will be over here. Good grief, we never sent anyone back to their jobs. Sorry, everyone. I got terribly distracted. Go home. Go home. It's before winter. Don't freeze in the fields. Don't be silly. We've got space here for some industry and potentially for some smaller burgages as well. It's going to have to be a balance. We can also get the smaller burgages start to be set up inside too, I suppose. And of course they're going to need some more granaries and storehouses over here. So why don't we actually get a dedicated storehouse here up and running, because we've got that set up already, just no one working there. And then for a regular granary and storehouse, how do we do it over here? I had them in 2 separate areas, plus some stalls, etc. Okay, we can do that here as well. So we'll get down a granary. This would seem a good one to do it in, actually, because it's already lost some of its space. So we'll get a granary there. And then we'll get the storehouse just here. We'll get a market stall in here. Maybe we'll come out all the way out to the edge there. Yeah, let's do that. Any water nearby? Or can we just get one there? No, not quite. It's frustrating. Might have to come over here for water. Yeah, put that there. And what else do people need? Stuffs and things, one would imagine. Stuffs and things. Let's see about getting a few stables in here as well. Those down there. Okay, good. And these are all going to be new orchards, I say, that we can populate with lots of lovely fruit trees with all of our newfound wealth. How are we doing? It's November over here. Winter is approaching. Only 3 months of food. Not ideal. Let's send 2 people to work here, purchase some hunting hounds, and use our money to buy some beets in there. Let's plant a herb garden as well. Let's see if we can't make use of that, and hopefully hunting camp will be able to provide us what we need to basically survive through the winter. I'm tempted maybe even to build a second hunting camp. We'll see how this one gets on. Maybe we should build one just in case, actually. We just won't employ anyone at it straight away. Sure, we'll get that one down there. You need to be a vegetable gardener as well, my friend. And I suppose we can afford to buy in some animals. So let's build a few pens. Ah, yes, okay. We need to start making some planks again. We'll get someone working at the saw pit. And how are we doing in terms of firewood to charcoal production? Still pretty good, so we'll leave the 2-1 arrangement over there. We'll need someone working at the forager hut to take care of herbs, although I don't know if we actually produce herbs in the winter. Not something I'm aware of. Don't know. You have to let me know in the comments below what happens there. Hopefully, though, we start to get some of the small game in. We already are, so that is positive. Gives us a chance, I think, to survive over the winter. Buy some carrots in for you there. We'll get you a goat. Get a few chickens in here. We've got plenty of fuel on the plus side, even if we don't have stacks of food. Grand. All looking rather swell. I do say so myself, even if the food situation isn't ideal, but I'm sure we'll take care of it. Nothing to worry about. Let's buy some apples, some pears, some quinces, and we've got enough money to repeat that up here. No, we don't. No more apple. No more pears. We'll leave it at that then. There's a few more to get. We'll do some upgrades as and where people are ready for them. And as people move in over here as well, we need to get the granary and the storehouse up and running. So let's upgrade those to the larger versions of themselves. And let's see if we can't weather the storm that is winter. I'll do a bit of micromanaging, and I'll rejoin you once it is spring again. Little bit. We're into March then, and things are looking pretty dandy. We survived through pretty well here in Janu. We had plenty of food in the end to get us through, and bringing in a nice bit of money as well. So I think, once again, the name of the game is expansion. We need to get a few more properties popped down, and we probably need to get more families working back in the logging camp. We have got one there. We've got 36 logs, actually, so what am I yapping about? We've got plenty. Right, let's do a little bit of expansion here. So, we've got a couple of smaller burgages. Let's just curve a road around here. Just so I can get a bit of a neater outside radius to these properties. Sure, go with that. And then we'll get rid of that. Road. And put a larger burgage in behind, or maybe two. Can we go a bit further around if we're doing that? Make them a bit bigger again. No, just wants to snap to there. Okay, that's fine. But we could actually make those into some orchards. So we will build those there. I think that's a good option for us. This might be a good place as well to have another granary and storehouse, since we do have it near the hunting camps. Although we're a little short on a little thing called stone. Now, we do have access to stone, believe it or not, in this area. Sort of the whole region we're here. So let's see if we can't get ourselves a couple of quarries. We are going to be a little bit restricted by the King's Road here, so I don't think this is going to be a 5 quarry setup. We might have to settle for 4. Good gracious. I'm sure I know how to do that. Not a very typical thing to do. Okay, right. Well, let's see about at least making decent use of the space. I guess we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4 then. Well, you know what? That will bring in plenty of stone. It's not the end of the world. And we might as well connect this up here. Like so. And we'll do the same around this way. Maybe let's... I like how that works, but let's just curve it a little more. It matches in with that road there. I think that would make more sense to continue on this road. So we'll get those built there. And we've got extra properties being built, and hopefully that'll allow us to start getting stone out of the ground before we know it. Once again, got to disband a group of troops. Sorry. What do you guys think of the day-night cycle? I like it, but I kind of feel like there needs to be more lights in houses. I mean, there are some little flickering lights like that, but I can't really see that when I'm zoomed out here. I need glow. I need the lights of the town shining bright. I've also built a whole load of burgages in here, and they're starting to be constructed. Now, we have the industry down here, but we could probably do with somebody making us some clothes. So I think we've got a bit of space here. So why don't we consider getting ourselves a couple of fabric boys, or girls, maybe boys and girls. Well, they will be, because it's the whole family going to do it. Oh dear. Nasty noise. Nasty noise. Oh no. Brigands and outlaws. Right, we do actually have enough weaponry to get a 3rd unit of spear, which I think we're going to need. And yes, we've not really done anything with warbows or crossbows, have we? I've been a little bit lax on the old military. We do have some money, though. So where is the nearest region that we could hire a little bit of help? Ladenfield, Chanyu, and Chanyu. We are in Shinford. I don't think they're going to get here in time, so I think this is going to be up to us. Let's rally the lads. We have no city walls yet, but we have a plucky British courage. Come on, men. Rally yourselves. Bring your spears, your shields, and your best attitudes. We have people to defend our land from. What are those lines for? Let's ignore those. Right, so we'll deploy our retinue in the center. And we'll deploy our 2 units of our troops out to the flanks as shield walls. And we'll keep 1 in reserve. Right, and hopefully we can just weather the storm. The lines have been breached. Brigands have engaged. The retinue are doing their best too. 1 unit is making its way out to the flank. Let's reform these men to defend themselves. We'll send these lads this way, actually. And we'll send you against them. This unit here is getting a little overwhelmed. I'm going to pull them back over here. they can fight alongside our other unit here. So we don't end up fighting alone when we don't need to. So if we can finish off these lads here and contain these, hopefully our retinue is doing a fair amount of damage as well. I'm going to set retinue to push forward. Don't get too split up, man. Stay together. Don't end up in the middle of a fight. We'll shield wall up again, actually. See if that helps us out at all. This unit seems to be doing okay over here, although it looks like we might have to reform slightly because they may be taking another unit there. We'll reform a shield wall there as well. They do seem to pop themselves out of shield wall quite quickly, don't they? Alright, don't get outflanked. I do feel like maybe the troops move around a bit too much these days. You know, if I set you in a shield wall, you shouldn't move. Well, we have lost a lad. We've lost a lad. Not Barry. He's such a beautiful boy. Rip their heads off. Oh dear, we weren't very well prepared for this, were we? Silly old typical. Tempted to push our troops in at full force, but I don't think there's any need, and we are whittling down their numbers, taking relatively few casualties ourselves, apart from Barry. Hopefully his brother, Frederick, doesn't go down as well. Don't know what their mother would do if they lost Barry and Frederick in the same day. Goodness knows they're not going to be very happy if they're only left with Bobbin. Not Bobbin. Not the most useful lad, Bobbin. Always at home, playing on the flute. Never out in the fields working. I'm getting awfully distracted, aren't I? Right, come on. Speed it up. Get it done. Get the job done, men. Right. They're breaking. And victory is ours. Well done, men. Go and bury the dead. Thank you. We might need to get ourselves a corpse bit. We'll put it out here. Look at that. Done a whole bunch of planting. That's good, isn't it? Let's get on ourselves working on a new little area. See there. And we have more than one forester's hut, don't we? Hello? Am I blind? Maybe we do just have the one. Okay. Well, never mind. Plenty of expansion has gone on here. We've got 14 spots people to be moving into. It's a relative field day. Did we take a loss in the retinue? Oh no, we lost one of the retinue. That's very sad. Don't worry, that wasn't Frederick. Frederick is not good enough to be in the retinue, believe me. You down here are going to be Anne Weaver. But you need to be level 2 for that first. So if you can kindly go shopping once someone moves in, that is. Can't really ask them to do that before they move in, can I? We'll get another one in here. So that'll be 2 families that can work on clothing production for us. Once people start moving into here, we'll get people working at the granary and the storehouse. It would be good to get some fields down eventually as well. We do have the population to work a few farms. Just a lot of effort, isn't it, really? Just a lot of effort. You know what? I had enough of this night time. One moment. Look at that. It's daytime. How lovely. How did that happen? Very bizarre. Right. So, back to thinking and stuff. So we've got people moving in. These are going to be orchards. We'll get a couple of orchards in there. And I suppose you down here can be a combination of goats and of piggies. At least you could if we had any resources, which we do not. Get a family that's just moved in and send them to work in the saw pit. 3 people working at the trading post is probably excessive, although we can get 2 and maybe order an additional horse. Some more hitching posts wouldn't go amiss either. So let's see if we can't get a few of those down. This looks like a lovely little gap to put them in here. Ooh, wonderful. Someone else is free. We'll send them to work at the quarry so we can start gathering in some of that small rubble stone. So we can use that to build more granaries and more storehouses. We are a little stretched on the ones we have. We'll upgrade that one. The hunting hounds are doing their job. I believe we have a fair amount of small game, 17, so cater for our habits. And another family working at the forager hut wouldn't be a bad idea, because there's plenty of berries growing over there in our enlarged deposit. It might actually be more efficient to have one family at each hunting camp, because they both have the hunting hound upgrade to bring in passive small game. So that would seem to make sense to me. Of course, we'll need to get ourselves a few stone-basin stations as well. We are starting to bring in planks again. And we'll set these up maybe just in here. And then we'll get a dedicated storehouse for the storage of all things stone. Maybe 2 of them, which we can upgrade in time. We might not need both to start with, but at least they're both there. And with all that lovely money we have, let's buy some quinces and some apples. And maybe even a pig for that pasture. Now we've got some more planks. We can go ahead and get some more animal pens. Things seem to be growing quite nicely. Our piggy bank is looking okay, so we could consider settling over there before too long. Get ourselves a cheap source of iron, but as long as we're making enough money from elsewhere, I don't suppose we actually really need it that much. So obviously there's a fair bit of moving in to be done over here. It would be really good to get to that 80% approval. But we built these a little late for that. So it'll be a little while before anyone moves into those 2 barracks and starts making us any clothes. Do we go over here? Start making some clothes here, but it's not very efficient because they're quite far away. No, I don't really want to do that. Where's our dedicated storehouse? You, sir, how you doing? Got 24 yarn. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just lovely? And they don't have too far to go and get the yarn. Not as efficient as it could be, but you know what? They're in the right quarter. What do we want you doing up here then? Well, we have no pork. And not many eggs or milk. So, probably some more of those things. Let's get some animal pens then. And maybe we'll just do all these animal pens again until we decide at a later date if we want them to do something else. Some odd shapes in here when I was doing these triangles, but they've all, you know, worked out reasonably well. And we'll get... No, we can't. What are we missing? Hello? Did we run out of planks? Oh, we did. Might need to address our plank limit. We'll build these here and then we'll go and deal with that. Fantastic. And then we'll go to our plank boy. Oh, plank boy. You there. You can make us more like 100 planks, my boy. Thank you. Thank you. Very handy indeed. 13 unassigned families. I suppose we ought to do some farming, hadn't we? I suppose. Another family unassigned here. Let's get ourselves a little road. Like so. A granary and a storehouse upon it. And we should also get some iron out of the ground. What is that is there? So we can make some of our own tools. And in anticipation of doing that, why don't we get ourselves a bloomery and a smithy on this road here as well. So plenty for them to be doing. And I'm not going to get someone else working at the quarry until such a time as we have an excess of tools. Let's buy in some pigs and a goat. Still 3 spots for people to be moving into. I don't think there were any more expansions we can hop on. Oh, just there is one there actually, so we'll get that one expanded. We'll do some more expansion here on putting down some more properties before too long as well. So where can we do some farming here? Well, let's take a look at our fertility. So typically barley's good there. Rye is good everywhere, of course. Emma, oh, it's good here. This would be a good spot. But I'm afraid to say, I do kind of just want to do looks nice over actually efficient. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that I want the farms to be fairly uniform. So let's pause the game and get out our favourite tool, Le Corpse Bit, which reminds me, we never buried anyone, did we? Hey, well. We'll leave it there. And we'll get the corpse bit, and we'll space ourselves off exactly once from the walls. The outer road anyway. Is the wall going in between that space? I think so, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, because... Or is it? No. Is it going on the outside of that? I think it'll go on the outside of that, so the houses aren't right up against the wall. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. It still works. So, and then we'll take a road between the 2 of those. Well, actually, no, let's continue up this. Actually, are we going to farm there? Or is that going to be for forestation? I think we'll keep this for forestation, perhaps. We'll just start in this area here. So we'll take a road and we'll connect those two up there. And then we might continue that down here. Just line that up with the road. Okay. That's good. Then we'll put that in there. And then... how do we want to do this? Probably too wide. We'll get 2 quarter splits down again. Connect those 2 up to the ends. And then we will continue this road down here. Delete the first quarter splits there. Does that work? Do we start? Everyone, let me know what you think. Do we start the farm here? So you've got the wall in this gap, and then you've got the farms on the outside road. Or do we put the wall on the outside road and have the farm start here? It uses up a lot more space, doesn't it? I like the idea of the fields going right up to the underside of the walls almost. I think we will try and leave a little space. Maybe we'll just do the wall like here. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, in that case we can delete this middle road. Like so. And then we'll go another 2 spots across with core splits. Let's turn off snapping there because that isn't behaving nicely. Put that there. And then come down here as well. Like so. Connect those 2 up. Yeah, why don't you want to work? We'll just do that then. I'll force you to work. We'll do that. We'll delete those. Delete that road. Delete these. Delete that road. And then what we'll do is we shall come in here and do some fielding. Do we leave that road between the fields? I think we do. I think we do. Where are the farms going to go? So many questions. I guess they could go on this side. If we're having fields down one side, we can have the farms here. Yeah, except let's get rid of that one because that's far too close to the walls. So, down like that. Good, and then we'll just slightly redo the forestation area because that might overlap with where we have popped down those buildings. Indeed. Let's put that there instead. And then how far do we want each of these to come across? These aren't going to line up perfectly unless we do something. Or we do mega fields. That's ridiculous. That is a 6.3 Morgan field. I've never done a field that big before. It'd be terribly inefficient. Let's not do that. What we might need to do is once again revisit the old corpse bit. And maybe we'll go 3 wide. 1, 2, 3. And do the same down here. 1, 2, 3. Just put a road in here. Delete all of those, repeat the process. And once I've got it all set out, we'll have a look at the fields themselves. Okay, so we've got that segregated out. Let's go ahead and put down some fields then in these spaces. There. We're going all the way down there. There we go. I think we'll leave the roads in between as well. I don't think they do any harm. So come around like that. Good. Oh, come on. There. Go down to here. And then we'll just basically put our normal rotation of wheat barley, and of course flax. So you might be able to make some lovely clothes from linen as well. There's our yarn that we're starting to bring in. Okay, so that's how our farms will start to look initially. And do we just fill out to this space here? How far down is it? So obviously these are spaced out by 2 corpse pits. So if we mimic that down here. 1, 2, and how far across here can we come before it won't let us do it anymore? So 1, 2. Let's connect to this road. Something like that there. And we'll just mimic this without being too precise. Like that. We'll delete the corpse pits. And we'll see about getting a few more fields in there. Okay. Fill that space there. Ooh, do we make this one big one? No. We'll stick to the plan. We'll stick to the plan. No weird shapes here, thank you very much, he says, filling out this road. Sure. Okay. That indeed is a grid-based farm system. I suppose we'll just as well fill out these here if we are doing this properly. And then let's see about setting some farming rotations. We'll get time going so we can start building all of the necessary farmhouses. And I suppose with farmhouses, we'll need some oxen. With oxen, you need somewhere to hitch them, lest they run away. We'll get maybe a little road that comes off here. Now we'll get a handful of stables here. And we'll do the same at the other end. And 1, 2. We'll obviously upgrade those into stables. That'll house all the horses for these. What's that? Just a little shack just out in the middle of the field for no apparent reason. How strange. Ooh, got some people moving in over here. What's more important to us at the moment? Is it pork or is it goats? Probably both. Let's get some pork, shall we? We'll go for some piggies. Some piggies and some upgrades. Why not? Oops. Expanded that living space by accident. It's not ideal. Never mind. Money's still looking good. Coffers are filling up. Put some stables on there. How are we doing over here? In January. 3 unassigned families. Let's get someone working at... Oh, the mining pit isn't constructed yet. Get on with it, people. Good grief, what are you doing? And we'll get the next storehouse and... Oh, no, we won't. Not until we build them a market stall. So we'll just pop these in here. Maybe let's fill that round a little bit more. Sure, do that. And we'll get this granary and this storehouse active so we can start to make sure that the market is still well catered for as we expand the number of people we have living here. And we've still got 3 spots for people to be moving into, but I feel we should probably do a little bit housing expansion. So maybe we'll put a road in here first to maintain access out the back, and then we'll do some more baggages in here. So a couple of small ones here, slightly larger than it needs to be widthwise for 3 properties. About that there, I reckon. Very close indeed. Bit too close to the front road, in fact. I think you'll find. Okay, do that. We'll have one that goes up and around the outside. Good. Growing quite nicely, this little town, actually. 15 unassigned families. Good gracious. What can we send you all to do? Well, we could have another family working at the sheep farm. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Might need some more pasture space, actually. We could do some pasturing outside of the walls. So let's take this here. and fill out a enormous pasture on the outskirts. Doesn't need to be bigger than 100 because it caps itself there anyway. 84, sure. Let's put a nice big pasture there. Relatively close to where the sheep themselves are. Looks like we're in a bit of a drought. How are we doing for food, actually, over here? 9 months, so not too bad, but a few additional vegetable gardens wouldn't go amiss, I imagine. Upgrade there while we can, and let's go through them and just willy-nilly buy some goats or buy some pigs for all these households, that when they move in, they can be greeted by a lovely animal sat in their living room. They'd be like, gracious, this house comes with a pig? It comes with a goat? It's fantastic. Never known such hospitality. At least that's what, I imagine that's what goes down anyway. Right, well, we've got a little while for people to be moving in. I might go ahead and start assigning a few people down at the farms. In fact, let's go ahead and get some plows. But there might not be much point until the drought is over anyway. And we'll start to set up some rotations for our crops. Just generally grow each channel so we have more stone available, and hopefully we can start exporting it to Shinfoot, where we are going to need it to build our perimeter wall. It's all looking rather exciting. We are about to have our first harvest. We are indeed only 15 days away, and look at those glorious fields. Don't they look pretty? Very happy with how they've come out. Got some lovely flax coming up, which we can turn into linen. Got a fair amount of barley and some wheat too. So hopefully before too long we'll be able to get some ale on the market, which is good, because we're going to have somewhere to do it with. Sell it, peddle it, whatever. So I've got a couple of malt houses over here, and a granary that is eventually going to be for the creation of alcohols. So let's set this up to allow malt and to allow barley. There at that granary will increase the size and disable the ability to have market stalls because they don't need them. And I've also done some expanding. So you'll see here, I've built properties all the way around the outside here. People have already started moving into them over here for some lovely vegetables. Upgrade those. And we may be able to turn those into small holdings at some point in the not too distant future, because we've got a fair number of workers. And we've got a whole bunch over here ready to become the next orchards. Done some expanding in here. I've popped down a large tavern there and a large tavern here as well. So those are going to be to get this, hopefully this central section here up to level 3 and maybe even level 4. We'll have to see how we go. But with the first harvest approaching, we'll finally have the resources we need to start doing that. We've also got clothes starting to come onto the market, because we finally had people move into our 2 tailors' homes here. We've got 4 families working on the production of clothing. And we have 259 yarn. In fact, I need to make sure that these chaps are all making yarn clothes. Yes, they are. So they are well on their way doing that. So things are looking pretty good over here in Shinfoot. Back over yonder, here, we did a whole bunch of expansion here. Got some properties in, put down a church, did some level 2 upgrading. So it's all headed in broadly the right direction. Obviously just waiting for more people to be moving at the moment. We've got more mining going on here. We've got sale set up of dressed stone once we get over a certain limit. So we're bringing in some decent money here now as well. And we've also started buying internally across the border some rubble stone. Got 105 cabbages here. That's fine. Yeah, so we're still exporting over a certain number. I mean, I think we're going to need to get obviously a trade route to sell cabbages over that number, but that's fine. Might need to consider getting another trading post up and running. Oh, look at that. The first harvest is coming in. Fantastic. And I also built a couple of windmills out here on the edge because I think they look pretty. So we should probably employ a couple of people in a couple of those. As for where our next trading post will go, I think it would make sense to have that inside the inner area still, within the walls, because there'll be valuables there and lots of monies. So maybe we'll put this one over here, which connects out to the trade route down here or something. And you've also got a bit of a funky terrain here, so I had to do some funky buildings with 2 burgages at this end. But don't worry about that too much. It works out in the end. Don't fret. Don't fret. Alright, so level 2 church needs stone, mortar, and roof tiles. We're going to be able to buy a couple of those in from our neighbours here anyway. And speaking of neighbours, it's probably about time we had a manor over here, isn't it? So let's go ahead to administration, military, and get ourselves a lovely manor. And we'll have a domestic retinue, which of course will be good in any case. And we'll be able to tax people, which is my main reason for building it, I must admit. We'll build back there. We're still a little shy on planks, so we're not going to be able to get the garrison tower straight away. Let's visit old Plank Boy and redress his limits. You may make 100 planks, Plank Boy. Be free. We certainly have a reasonable amount of timber. I mean, the upgrading to level 2 has definitely cost us a little bit of material. Storing up stone nicely. We'll be able to start shipping that across the border before too long as well. And we ought to get down then a mortar boy. So we'll get down a lime kiln and we'll pop that over here somewhere. Near where we have the storehouses. Extend the road out to there, and we'll also allow these to have mortar. And that's something else we need to make a decent amount of. Now, when it comes to iron, I think we've probably used it all up. Yeah, all the iron was gone, and all the iron slabs, but we do have 102 tools. That is going to buy us a little bit of time in terms of the production we can do here before we have to worry too much about getting some more iron, because we've used up the mine that was here. We have, of course, claimed a region over there. So I think maybe actually we've got 954 in our coffers. We're about to build a second manor to tax that local place. So now we have this region over here. What I'll do is in the next spring, we'll settle over here and see if we can't mine that and start domestically exporting it. And then we'll have a nice little economy between our three regions. A bit harder to defend, but we'll have to make sure we get a retinue stationed up there fairly sharpish. Speaking of retinues, as soon as we have the money, perhaps we should go ahead and buy ourselves up a larger retinue. So up to 12 there. Use a little half our money to do it, but, you know, we'll need a defending force of some kind. And we should probably start to think about upgrading the manor here. Open the castle planner, and let's start by getting a garrison tower at least built, so we'll commit to that. And resources stolen? Good heavens, there's some bandits. Let's go take care of these ruffians, shall we? Deploy our full army. Take out 3 units of spear and go poke them in the bottoms until they run away, and we can take their money. Our lovely square and rectangular fields over here, our lovely linear fields, I should say, are being well and truly ploughed. So we'll have plenty of resource next year. Let's not run you, but let's start heading over in the right direction. That plateau looks good. And resources for both of these are 9 months and 5 months respectively. Okay, it's fine. Probably a little shy on the old trees, I suppose. Let's get 2 families working at this this new place. And we'll set you to plant a circle there, slightly larger than the smallest size. And we'll set you to do similar here. Let's hopefully get a few more saplings planted. So how do we do on the harvest? So we have 46 wheat grain, 251 barley. My goodness, that's a lot of barley, isn't it? Let's go and get our barley granary up and running right away. We'll get 2 families working there. And then let's get a couple of families working at the malt houses. Alright. With that done, we should probably go and visit the existing granaries and tell them they are not allowed to have crafting materials. Because that should all be going to the granaries, whom are built for that specific purpose. Comprende? Comprende. Okay. I think that basically covers everything off, and it doesn't matter if they stock alcohol. And ooh, you're ready for an upgrade. You may have one, dear sir. And these over here, even though they're not properly been set up yet, also go to the trouble of expanding those as well. Now that we have the money to do so. What the money? The small rubble stone. After we have been buying it in from our neighbours. Our new trading post here. Let's order in an ox and let's get a few hitching posts if we can in here. Might put them here. It's going to be too steep to build anything else, isn't it? So we'll just get those in there. Okay. And this granary here. Yeah, so we've actually run out of stone already. And granary. Lovely. Okay, let's go and join the military. As they have arrived, walk a bit closer. Why are you running? It's a stupendous thing to do. I'm actually going to bypass these bandits, and we're going to go and take their camp while they engage these 2 units. Good. Well, they should be able to overwhelm them without taking any casualties. In the meantime, we can go and loot the goods. Thank you. And then you can come back. But you might as well just start heading home. I reckon the others have got it covered off. By the time you arrive, then we'll send them home as well. Fantastic. Well, that seemed to work rather well, didn't it? 2 units on the attack, 1 unit to go and steal some stuff. And just before they get back, it's all done. Good. Let's run everyone back so they can all get back to their jobs sooner rather than later. We've got that lime kiln built over here now, so we'll get a family working there. So I'll do some upgrades in here. We'll weather the winter, and then we'll see where we are come the spring and the settling of a new region. How idyllic. Well, we're into March, and our brave armies are just on their way back from having taken care of yet another bandit camp. Oh dear. Very naughty of them indeed. And put down a communal oven just down here, so that we can start to bake up some of that lovely bread. Oh dear. What have I done there? Clicked on the wrong button, haven't I? It's no good at all. Right, you should be making stuff and things. Looks like you're all quite busy at the moment. That's fine. I'm sure you'll get there in the end. And over here, we just did some assigning of these properties, bought them some goats, etc. Did a little bit of upgrading, but otherwise haven't done all that much. And to be honest, we're producing a fair amount of dressed stone here and selling it as well. We've got a good income coming. We've got the tower on the manor, so we'll be able to build ourselves a lovely retinue here. A full retinue in time. So really, we just want to leave them to it, making money. It's kind of the general aim for these lads over here. We might do a little bit more specialization, make something else to sell, but who knows? Don't need to worry about that, especially at the moment. So, the main goal at the moment then would be to wander over to Bandit and plant ourselves a little iron colony. So, I'm going to rally what is now a full detachment of retinue, and we're going to head them over there as a primary source of defense for our lads, for our settlers. And last year as well, what I did is I popped a 50% tax on Shinfort, and basically reaped 1,800 coins out of them, which I sent to my own treasury. They were very unhappy, but only for 1 month, and then the approval immediately recovered. So a good way to get cash out of your regions if you need to. So we've got the rich resource of iron there. Food-wise, there's not a lot here. So that's okay though, because what we're going to do is now we've got the money, we'll settle with a lovely, plentiful camp. So we'll go for plentiful start, confirm, and similar to what we've done previously, we're going to start with a hitching post and then some burgages, because that seemed to go well for us when we last settled a region and broke from tradition, which it would normally be building a granary and storehouse first. My goodness, if I click around one more time to pick up where the hitching post is, I'm going to have a seizure. So we'll order another ox with our starting money, and much like with the settlement we popped down over in Stoneland, we are going to keep this one nice and simple in terms of layout. Don't think we need to have a overly complex layout. Maybe we'll just put a little center here. Have a road curving away. Kind of have a central cross point for everything. I think that could look quite good. If I can get this diamond shape to look right, that is. It's about right, isn't it? It looks awful. I hate it. Let's try this again. Let's just cross it like that. And then do this instead. Alright. Looks good to me. Then we'll extend these roads down slightly. Don't want to get in the way of the rich resource of iron there. And, whoa, zooming right in there. Let's get ourselves down a couple of mortgages then. So we'll leave a little gap. Yeah, bother. This is one of those roads that doesn't count as a road. Let's just quickly build over this road. Sometimes little roads like this, the game doesn't recognize as being a real road. Because it's the small roads, you can only count as roads in your region once they have been claimed. So until then, they're just cosmetic. And for some reason, the small roads that the game starts you with sometimes are the same. Where is the King's Road? It's all the way over here. Barely passes through this region at all, really. Okay, well, we should now be able to build a couple of burgages off of that. Yes, we can indeed. So I think we'll start with literally a couple right alongside here. And these won't be terribly large, don't need to have big rear extensions on these, so I think we'll just go something a little like that. Probably come across there a little more at the bottom actually, so we don't waste too much space. Sure, so the first two there, and then we'll get an immediate wraparound. Just a small one, that's fine. And then we'll leave this space here, we might get something else in there. And for more burgages, maybe what we'll do is we'll take a little road across like this, that will parallel this one. And this can be rear access and this can be front access, purely for the reason of it keeps it nice and close to the edge of the road. And it looks like we'll have to break from the very edge there. Maybe this will be dense accommodation. Let's turn off snapping so we can get that 90-degree in there. Okay, boom. Let's build it. Make it so. Kitchen post first, good start. Onto houses next, and then of course we're going to want to make sure we get ourselves down a logging camp. Plenty of lumber off in that direction, so it would seem to make sense to put it at the end here. We pop it there. We'll put a little connecting road in here, and we'll continue this kind of parallel road we've got going here, I think. Maybe we'll converge it. Do something a little bit like that. Sure, just for a bit of visual interest. And then maybe we'll follow this road down and it can eventually reconnect with the King's Road. At least it can once we get some timber and make some planks. Houses are going up left, right and centre. Look at that, already at the next level. So we can pick our perk and we'll go for Smiths of Passu. We'll make some weapons to sell here, so that can be our source of income over this way. And I think what we'll do in this game is when we eventually come to take on the AI, we'll just hire a whole bunch of retinue. That's going to be, not retinue, a whole bunch of mercenaries rather than worry too much about bringing up our own strong military. I think that sounds like a splendid idea. Let's plan out a granary and a storehouse. So granary there, storehouse there. Also need some water. But we're out of goodies. Goodness, well, as soon as the log camp is constructed, we'll make sure to get some logs coming in. You've got a lot of starting resources. You really can build properties quickly. We've already got extra people moving in. Right, let's get 2 people working there. And then we'll get a couple of families, maybe even 3. Then we'll get a couple of families working on bringing the goods inside of the storehouse and the granary. And we'll put ourselves a market stall just here. Maybe not. Actually, this spot here is good. Would be if it can snap properly. There we go. It's more like it. Got a family working there. First timbers come in, so we can get down a good old water boy. Unfortunately, I think we built directly over the log that allowed us to build it. So it's okay, they're stripping more trees. It'll be okay. Don't worry, don't fret yourselves, everyone. It's absolutely fine. Let's quickly check in on our other provinces while it's happening. Quickly realise we forgot to disband those troops and march our retinue to the defence of this fledgling settlement. So we'll quickly get that done now. Thank you everyone for screaming at your screens, reminding me to do that for the last 5 minutes. Lots of upgrades are available over here. I think that's because we recently stocked up the local granary and storehouse, which we had not employed anyone at, and it was really showing in terms of the supply we had across the city. It's still not great, but hopefully in time we'll be able to rectify that. We haven't got any ale yet, because the plan is to get these properties upgraded, and then we'll be able to make them into a couple of lovely breweries, but we're a little shy on planks after doing all those upgrades over there, so might have to bide our time there a little bit. I've put down an additional forester's hut, just to make sure that we keep planting more trees, because we need trees. The eventual palisade walls that we want to build later on. But otherwise, things seem to be ticking along okay here. Regional wealth is so-so, but we don't have a massive export here. That's something we can potentially change in future. Clothes are looking good. We've got 116. plenty of wool. We could do with a few more families working at the weavers' workshops. There's probably a great reassigning coming at some point, but we're not there just yet. So 2 families working there. Not many free for the construction, but that's fine. There's lots of flax as well to be turned into linen, so we could potentially switch one of our tailor shops over to making clothes with linen, which would make sense seeing as we have used all of the yarn. So we'll set this one to use linen, and the other can use yarn, and that way we should keep producing more clothes. Down in Ichanyu, things seem to be ticking along pretty nicely, and I think we'll basically leave them to it. I mean, 204 dressed stone, small surplus of rough. Let's get another 2 families working at the quarry. 204. What's our export limit? I want to keep 150. Okay, we seem to mostly be keeping up. If that figure really starts to stack up, we might have to increase the number of people working at the trading post. But for the moment, it looks okay. So we'll leave 1 family for construction and basically leave them to it, really. And what we will do, though, is pop on over here, and we've been making lots and lots of mortar, I believe. Indeed. So we're going to establish a trade route. We're going to export only to our neighbour. Only need a surplus of 50 or so. Don't need any more than that. And then over here, we'll come on to our lovely trading post, which is down yonder. And we'll start importing that good stuff from our neighbours. And we probably want 200 in total to allow for future castle projects. So we'll get all of that importing. I'll quickly flip back over to Wenitz. Make sure that everything is going swimmingly. So let's unassign a few families there. We will unassign families there. We need to take care of everything here, don't we? So, food is going to be a priority. So we are going to need a couple more baggages that can double up as spaces for vegetable gardens. Although we could potentially make some of those really small ones into vegetable gardens. They would still produce some food. So there is some mileage potentially in doing that. As a matter of urgency, though, obviously we're going to need a woodcutter's lodge. So we'll squeeze that in there. We'll want a charcoal kiln as well, obviously. We'll some initial income. Trading posts, so we can actually trade for said income. And actually what we can do is head on over now to Janyu and make sure we're no longer exporting charcoal, because stone should be more than enough to bring us an income in over here. Fortunately, the value of charcoal has really fallen, so I don't know if making charcoal over here is going to be a good idea. We might actually be better off selling planks. Speaking of planks, let's get a plank boy down, shall we? So we'll get a saw pit and pop that down just there. Okay, and then we could always get some goats, etc. I suppose, as well. We've got more starting regional wealth. What we will do is put our second row of houses in, or start to. So we'll get maybe a couple of small ones here. A bit bigger rear gardens. And then we'll make this into our first vegetable plot. It's a bit of an odd shape, isn't it? It's turned off snapping, so we don't actually touch that outside. Yep, it's more like it. We'll build that one there. And then we need to do another couple of small ones. Little something like that there. And then behind. Good. What I might actually do is demolish these for a moment, because we know we can fit them in there later. And just get people moving into the 2 that we're going to use as vegetable plots. Does that mean we're prioritizing getting people moved in to make food as opposed to anything else? Let's get a family working at the saw pit. We want to make sure we've got at least, say, 12 timber at any given time. And we're going to want about 50 planks as a surplus to allow us to start building up over here. We'll start the woodcutter's lodge, make that active. Maybe get another person at the logging camp, actually. Do we need them at the moment? Probably not. What we can do, though, probably is afford to get some workers at the granary and the storehouse, which we don't normally do. Yes, food is running out. That is a problem. We're not having an immediate source of food here is actually far from ideal. We might have to get a hunting camp down, just to see if we can tide ourselves over. What I will do, actually, for the moment, let's go on over to... I should have done this earlier, but... Schoonfoot. And see if we can't set up an emergency sending of supplies. And we could send some cabbages, for example, with a pack horse, but there's nothing to trade back. Although if we start making charcoal, we'll be able to trade that back. Yes. Sounds like a plan. Despite the plentiful resource start, because I got so many families moved in so quickly, it's actually turned out to be a bit of a thorn as opposed to anything. Okay, let's get a couple of these pack stations out here on the road. Maybe not here. Unfortunately, that road doesn't connect anywhere. King's Road is probably our best bet, isn't it? Over this side, yes. So we'll get down a couple of pack stations here, actually. So let's get 3 of those. Maybe 5, just for a minute. And we'll go to the livestock trading post and see if we can't bring in some mules. Actually, there's no point building those because we don't even have people to work at them. We'll have to temporarily reassign some families and workers. Right, we'll get those built as a matter of priority. And speaking of as a matter of priority, let's get ourselves some vegetable gardens constructed in here. Okay. We'll get down a hunting camp just to see if that can't tide us over a little bit. And we'll pop that down just there. And let's get some beets planted in here. So, probably should have planted them away. I should have someone living. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, quick way to solve that. Let's delete a few houses and force people to move into those. Quick thinking. Right, good. Not the ideal way of doing things, perhaps, but at least it, is a way of doing things. Get 2 workers at that hunting camp. So, see if we can't get that operational. Woo. So, we've got the pack stations here now. Let's make sure they get assigned some mules as they arrive. Uh-oh, banded raiders. And we'll get a family working at each of these. And a trade partner is going to be Wernitz. They're going to send some lovely beetroots, and they're going to receive some lovely charcoal. And charcoal is something we're starting to struggle with here anyway, so I mean we could always set up a fairly permanent trade, couldn't we? If that's going to help both sides out, as it were. Because there are a lot more trees up there than there are down here. Or at least we can set it to import at a discounted rate, can't we? Yes. Future plans and all that. Right. We'll get those going. Hopefully people will start taking things by hand. I think they probably will, even before they get a mule. And where are these raiders? Oh, they've come for oh, no, they're coming for us. Bother, they probably are marching down towards us because we're a little closer than the AI. Maybe, maybe not. Well, let's not take the chance. Let's deploy the rest of our soldiers in this direction. And they can come and assist as and when necessary. We will set our retinue to defend here. But it does look like they are indeed going for the AI. Still, I think it's a... Oh, bother. They're coming from 2 sides of the map at once. Oh, no. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. These have been hired by the AI. Gosh, that scared me for a moment then. I was like, oh, they're coming in the side of us. Nope, they're not. It's just the way it looks. Deploy our spear up here. But, yes, they've already engaged in combat. And it looks like the AI is pretty well defended. I mean, 4 units of spear should be able to take care of those units no problem. So, actually, there's no need for us to bring our spears all the way out here. We'll keep them home and disband them. The retinue was enough of a guarding force. Mind you, the main problem at the moment is food. So, unless we get some of these beets in and out the ground quickly, and we tide ourselves over with bringing in some food from our other regions, and also from killing a few wild animals, we are scuppered. So, we'll try our best. Right, I'm going to go ahead and get this built up a little bit. Hopefully it will survive. If not, I'm sure you'll know soon enough. Oh dear, I'm back. Oh, you're claiming this region. Ooh, putting a split between us. Okay. I'm warning you, AI, I'm going to have to come for you at some point. Yeah, I can't leave you forever. Okay. Yes, I'll do a bit of micromanaging. I'll get that settlement set up and probably build some buildings over here to get people continuing to move in, fill out these spaces. And then maybe we'll be on to a reassigning down here. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Toodle pips. Make yourselves a cup of tea. Oh, we've done a lovely little bit of growth over here. Everyone is happy. We've been building a lot more houses. People have been moving in left, right, and centre. We stabilised the food economy in the other region, and, well, I did a little bit of hiring, didn't I? Yes, I think it's time we took the AI to task. I have hired just about every mercenary available because we could afford it. So we're going to use these lovely lads, and we're going to go and beat up the AI. We've got plenty of influence. So, I think we ought to claim a region, don't you? We'll deploy our forces in that general direction. I don't think we even need to bother bringing our own boys. I'm going to leave them to defend the other regions. Hopefully I'm going to leave the retinue here as well. A new message. Goodbye. Enemy units spotted. Yes, he's rallying. Hopefully they don't come for our lovely little retinue. I'm going to hide him over here. Right, we need to move into the combat zone. So, let's array ourselves. So they're going to come from that region, and there's a bit of a hill here. We've got plenty of archers, so we want to make use of those. Not that I think it's really going to matter, because we basically hired every mercenary there is, apart from a couple of really expensive crossbow boys. I don't think we're going to have any problem destroying them at all. And after the first fight, it might just be a bit perfunctory. So, let's make it a good one, shall we? So we get all our infantry there, support them with our archers. Oh dear, I've accidentally picked up a peasant. Don't want you at all. Just the archers, please. Right, set you up here. And then we will take our peasant boys, our ruffians, our thugs, and we'll put them on the flanks. And they will be used to defend the archers. Good. Right, let's deploy everyone to those positions. Imagine the AI, yep, to get himself the crossbows over to our flank. We'll have to keep an eye on those. But all they have to face us with is 4 puny spear boys. We shall destroy them forthwith without hesitation. Lovely. Our military has moved into position. And there they are, coming down the hill towards us. Crossbows are still a long way off. I've had some epic fights on these ridgelines in the past, haven't I? Anyone remembers the very old long plays? Let's do a lot of fighting there. Okay, I think we'll basically just stay in the formation that we are. I might stretch the flanks, just to make sure we are protecting the archers. Other than that, I'll leave everyone where they are, I think. I'll go and sacrifice these guys to the crossbows if I have to. So, we'll set our lads to fire at the various units that we can see. We've shield walled up. Very wise. However, I don't think it's going to help. As soon as the archers start firing, I'll tell you what, they could really do with improving the draw distance in this game. I mean, look, like, I can see the flags of my troops. There they are. It's not very far away that your troops start disappearing. Do I hear arrows start? Oh, they're definitely drawing their bows. Here comes the rain. Oh, it's like 300 all over again. How do you feel like fighting in the shade, lads? Oh dear, they might not even reach our front lines, at least a couple of the units. Crossbows might get in range. Let's deploy these guys to the forest, really. We might even just throw all of our cheap lads at them. Sounds like a good idea to me. We do seem to be going for the flanks. We've not fired anything at the centre. I'm going to further spread the flank formations, just to make sure we're protecting those oh-so-important archers. Maybe mercenaries are a bit cheap in this game, because this entire mercenary army doesn't cost very much to upkeep once you've just got a basic treasury. That unit's all but decimated. Never reached the front lines. That one's almost gone as well. Looks like they are going to close with 2 of their units. Here they come. Taking fire even as they do come in. And finally they've closed with our lines. But at this point we can commit a large number of forces to take care of them. Gonna pull these chaps back here. Pull these lads in. And see if we can't open fire on these chaps by putting them out in the middle a little bit. Crossbows are still a little ways off, so we don't need to worry about them. We'll keep these guys out of the way so our archers can see this unit. Might even commit you in here. Good, they're almost dealt with. We'll push them in there. Grand. We might even win before the crossbows enter the arena. Just 15 lads left. Can we claim another region while we're fighting? No, we can't. Just wondering, just wondering. Want to make use of this hired army as quickly as possible, because our funds aren't endless. Right, and victory is ours. We're immediately going to come in here and press a claim towards the next region. And we'll start moving our forces in that general direction. Let's check where the battleground is. Just here. Are those crossbows still about? I'm not sure. Let's deploy to the center. Speed time up. I don't know if the enemy is going to have any troops because we just slaughtered their entire army, unfortunately for them. Their domestic army, and also, unfortunately for them, we've hired the entire available mercenary force, apart from the handful of crossbowmen, which they've already hired once this month. We'll move into here, and just as soon as the enemy turn up, I'll be sure to let you know. We might as well take on a box formation. And then we can just essentially wait it out. Ooh. Enemy unit spotted. Looks like we're just against the crossbow. In that case, we'll take our infantry and we'll line them all up on that side. And we'll position our archers just in front this time. And our distraction forces on the flanks. And actually, it would make sense with our archers to set them all to a spread out, so they're further apart, so harder to hit with missile. Right, everyone take your positions. Once we deal with these crossbows, I don't think we'll have to deal with any troops ever again. Yes, they can muster some forces from here, but I doubt the population here is particularly large anymore. I don't think it was that large to start with, and we killed at least 120 people. I don't know why I'm so happy and laughing about that. Must be the British in me. Wait, did I just say that? Okay. Honestly, all we did was build railways. What? Let's put these here. Oh, and end slavery. That was the other one, wasn't it? Yes. He's still talking, isn't he? Typical T. What are you doing? Come on. Show me your crossbows. Right. Let's set our men to melt them. Are they gonna just run into our lads? Since when do crossbows just run into the lads? Strange. Well, they've finally taken up their positions. This will shield wall up. Protect everyone. But it won't take our archers long to take care of these chaps. In fact, why don't we run a couple of ruffians at them? I'm sure that'll go well for us. And I can redirect all fire onto this unit here. Come on, ruffians, you're finally useful. Charge! Oh, wonderful. That worked perfectly, didn't it? Finally, the ruffians are of some use. Let's not waste any time. We'll claim that next region. And we'll unshield wall our troops before moving them. So stop you from running. And we'll head you in this general direction. For Nuthole shall be ours. Let's go and put ourselves roughly here. I'm not sure where the claim area is for Nuthole. Is it here? No. It's here. Is it? It's always the same. Don't know. Right. Let's speed time along. Move our by now quite tired forces, I'd imagine, into position. Almost most of the archers, they've been doing the heavy lifting, haven't they? Let's go and view the men. As we march past the old abandoned windmill, we see our military on the march. Not a soul amongst them is anyone that lives in our regions. For once we are going with a complete mercenary army, which I think actually is probably the first time I've done that in Manor Lords. I've always had some contingent of our own homegrown forces. Look at that. That is an impressive army, isn't it? All with steel helms, fairly well equipped. Much more infantry than I would normally have as well. I'm usually very, very missile heavy. Never use swords either. Small arms. Good, right, well. Let's march to war. Off you go. Toodle pip and all that. There is nobody left to resist. For some reason, they've not quite managed yet to work out how to double stack units. So, like they do in Rome, Total War, and the other Total War games. So, if you get too many, I have actually had it before where they start disappearing off the ends, which is rather inconvenient. We're still over above 4,000 on our reserves, so no trouble money-wise. We should probably check in and make sure everyone's okay back in the home regions, shouldn't we? How are we doing over here? 10 months of food and fuel. We never even started mining the iron here. How are we doing at Rome Home? Why did I not call it Rome Home? 7 months food and fuel. Looks like we're mostly taking care of the timber issue. You can see I've got lots of planting going on around the outskirts, and we've got an additional charcoal kiln fired over there. Fine over here as well. Ooh, an enemy unit. Where have they been spotted, I wonder? Oh dear. It's a bit sad, isn't it? He's got 3 lads. Is that all they've got? Well, fair play to them. If I... Oh dear. You okay? You can't make him out. Do I fight? Do I stay? Do I fight? Do I stay? Do I fight? Do I stay? I don't blame you. If I was one of 3 men, I would probably be wondering why I'm being sent to the slaughter as well. Alright, we might just have to wait them out then. Our force is arrayed. Oh, look! Might they be able to field 20 people so far? It's 8, and they're definitely unsure as what to do. Tell you what we could do. Oh, okay. No, they've got their crossbows as well. I was thinking about marching in our retinue to take care of these ruffians in their own home, which would be a rather disgusting thing to do. Maybe they're just waiting for the crossbowmen. They do seem to eventually be making their way out. I'm surprised there's anyone left here to pick up a shield and a spear. I suppose we should orientate ourselves ready for battle. I do feel rather sorry for them. Face our enemy and all that. Although it feels a little cruel, to say the least. I'm just going to set our archers to fire at will. I don't think I'm going to need to designate targets with a military that small coming towards us. I say military. It's a couple of guards, realistically, isn't it? Shoot at will, men. Shoot at will. As they approach through the forest, they'll be shot dead, and we'll be able to move on. And I think maybe because they're coming a little bit before the crossbow, we might even be able to take care of them before the crossbow into the battle. Impressive, they've reformed so quickly after being slaughtered, these mercenaries. Particularly interested in negotiating, my friend, because I'm very much winning. How close will they get before they meet their demise? They're gone. And they're gone. Oh dear. A sad day. A sad day for the Bossvice families as I imagine the old men and the boys, the only ones that are left to fight, are sent to their piecemeal deaths. Never to even thrust a spear at their foes. Oh look, they're reforming as they are dying. What? Have they got more people than they did before? That's weird. Are we just going to have a constant dribble? We have defeated them. Okay, right. Peace declared. Crossbowmen have disappeared. Let's go and camp out in the last region belonging to the AI. We shall claim it with influence, and soon the map will be ours. Victory is assured. The game shall be over. It's up. The game is up. What's your name? Fritz. The game's up, Fritz. Rather unsurprisingly, he's declared me his enemy. He's rallied the women and children now, I'm assuming, to his banner. And we're going to have to come to him for once. Don't think it's going to matter too much. I imagine we'll see some crossbows at some point, possibly. I'm going to leave the retinue there just in case we do get a raid or something. The same reason we've not brought our own infantry with us. They were unnecessary and perhaps useful to defend the home. Are they sallying forth, these brave women and children? I fear they are. So be it. They will not get anywhere near. We shall ignore them and march our infantry on, I think. At least a couple of the units. Move them on as well. And this contingent here. Lovely. As our army arrives piecemeal, so does their defense. Again with the draw distances, my goodness. These two lads doing. I'm afraid I can't allow you to leave. No, you're not actually here, are you? Bizarre. You were brave. 2 men charging alone against an army. Such courage. That's quite a good offer, nearly 2,000 coin, but I'm not here to loot and to raid, I'm here to conquer. And conquer I shall. Through fire, brimstone, and flame. Well, it's safe to say the battlefield is ours. Let's move our troops into range so they can basically open fire as soon as they see them. These lads are on a right adventure, aren't they? They're actually fighting them.
Here we go.
Don't know if they've also disappeared. Oh look, enemy archers. Right. Let's deploy a force to take care of them. And we'll take the units of sword as well. And we will set our archers to target one of the units. And I will attack the crossbow with the lovely thugs, as we have discovered that works quite well. I wonder how they'll deal with a full undamaged unit. Archers are very tired, but they have done the job. They're back at shooting at will. We'll position them here, and they should be able to shoot into the heart of the enemy camp from there. Just in case, we will deploy one of our units of sword. And then let's deploy some thugs. And maybe a few more units of sword throughout the enemy settlement. So we can pick up any of these enemy units as they spawn. And then we'll keep 3 units of sword back to protect the archers. Okay. And we should be able to clear them up as and when. It's just about fighting on the edge of that. Oh, we lost a man. I think that might be the first time that's happened to us in this conflict. This war, which has not really been a war so much as it's been a farce. Let's deploy these chaps as well. They held up in a house or something. Where are they hiding? They're just running away. Feels like we're fighting some kind of guerrilla war. And there we have it. Victory is ours. Peace is declared. And the map belongs to us. For some reason, we've not been given a victory screen, which is unusual. Yes. Perhaps we were playing with the objective for the large town. Don't remember. Anyway, that's all we have time for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this lovely playthrough where we looked to build a Roman-style settlement and then went on a Roman-style rampage, killing, slaughtering, and conquering Roman-style. If you enjoyed this playthrough, guys, let me know in the comments below, and if you want me to revisit this map and continue the playthrough just building up to the large town settlement level and getting those walls we talked oh so much about here in the main Roman settlement, then let me know down below. If we can get the video up to enough likes, then maybe I'll bring out that next video sooner rather than later. But until next time, cheerio!